Oh, no shit? Oh, fuck, nice.
They probably hear you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is DH Thorne and the Flesh Priest with no video. What did I do? Oh my goodness.
What
I'm like,
did
doing
you
this
do?
wrong.
Bring me back.
There it is. No, I fixed it. I fixed it. I spent so much effort on the audio, I completely like neglected all the video and everything. Oh my god.
The people need to see my face. And you know what else the people need to do? We're taking it back to the 90s, fucking early 2000s tonight, apparently. We're just gonna keep rolling. What? Keep rolling.
I almost wish Elle was with us tonight. He did mention he'd like to be on again soon. I think he's planning on hitting you up to get on next week, but I feel like Elle belongs on any stream talking about Ronin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. God damn it. I need to get back to him too.
I love Elle. He hasn't been on enough. Maybe he'll be watching tonight, but we'll hopefully hang out with him next week. So yes, for those of you who like the music, I made that. Almost all the music you ever hear on this, I either make or I steal from the YouTube Free Music Club, you know, their free music for creators thing. So if you like the music, that is me. And I do also believe that Ace the Goblin is going to be using this in a mix that he's doing. So if you guys know who he is. So hopefully he will be doing something with this soon, you know, because I'm not like the rap type, you know. I don't know anything about like what to say or what like, I mean, come on, it's just not my way.
You just gotta speak from the soul and get all like Pokemon's intro with it. I wanna be the very best. You can do it.
Boy, Pokemon's coming up a lot tonight, because here I am playing World of Warcraft, and you're like, oh, you know what I liked about World of Warcraft is the Pokemon style of pet battle system. I'm like, oh yeah, that is pretty nice.
I hate
Pokemon.
How much I love I almost kept my WoW subscription going just to keep playing fucking Pokemon in WoW. And then just one day I woke up and just, what am I doing with my life? And I stopped.
Yeah, I did that throat sing. I think I modded it slightly. I'm pretty sure, because I can't... Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I did. I just went like... just like that, and I just fucking... Hope the audio picked that up.
Oh, it did. It caught all the resonance.
Yeah. It's, you know, it was one of those things you just... Obviously, I got to edit it to make it good. I can't just do it like right off the bat. But yeah, so let me get into the zone. How many people are watching? 35. That's pretty good. That's almost enough to show my nips on. We're getting there.
All 6 of them. A nip for every finger.
Go to Thorne Hub, where you can hang out with Flesh Priest and the Thorninator. And the OnlyFans will only cost you what OnlyFans costs. How much does OnlyFans cost, Flesh Priest? Is it up to the creator?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, honestly. I've never used it. I set up an account to start posting shit on there, and I have done nothing with it.
I often wonder, like, I know it's not limited to just prawn, but I'm curious about it. I'm very curious about, like, the angles you can use it with.
No, from what I understand, it's basically just Patreon, but different. It's like Patreon but it has the it's known for fucking the prawns and the oddities. True.
That's why I have a subscribe star, because Patreon, because, you know, I worry about censorship, quite honestly. Censorship is like, whether it be legal and thus not censorship, whatever, we're going to split the hair. I worry about cancel culture, split and censorship and all that, especially doing what we do. You know, it's, in one way it would be protected, right? Because they would probably be like, oh, Satanism, we got to protect that because it's one of those things. But on the other hand, there's a lot of other things that we talk about that, you know, can get us into trouble.
Yeah, sensitive subjects.
And I'm not, you know, I'm one of these people, like, I get it. YouTube's got to make money. They got to have their own, you know, whatchamacallit, their own sugar daddies in the form of advertising and all that. And if we're sitting there talking about, like, some of the things we talk about all the time.
Forever sleep, shit like that.
Yeah, you know, that's why I don't monetize the streams, because I figure we cut loose on the streams, and I can't control as much what I'm going to say. I can't edit it out if I decide to expose myself in some way. But so tonight's stream, I put the title of it being being a spiritual Ronin, and I want to go into what that means, like really, really, quite a bit. It's not just a title. I'm sure a lot of you probably already got sort of an idea of what it probably means. How many? You know what a Ronin is, right? Right, Fleshy?
Yeah. So actually, I was about to say, correct me if I am wrong, because I am ignorant on this subject. A Ronin isn't that's not like Bushido. That's not a code of ethics for knights, but that's like a knight, isn't it?
So Ronin is in feudal Japan and even later, but mostly in feudal Japan, when a samurai, when their daimyo would be killed, their leader, their lord, their liege, when they died or in some other way were deposed and no longer in power, it's often thought that it was the custom that when that happened, that a person would take their life. They'd commit Sudoku. But that isn't always what happened. In fact, it usually was not, quite honestly, because then it would be like, somebody loses a war and everybody dies. Imagine if when
you just got a bunch of people fucking playing puzzles out in the field. You can't have that.
Imagine if when a president was changed in this country, if all the cops in the military slit their stomach open the next day. That doesn't happen. There wouldn't be anybody there to run the nation or anything. But a lot of these guys, and obviously predominantly it was males, they would have no master, and they would call them Ronin or Ronin. And essentially it means like a vagabond, because usually a Ronin was actually, they still had a lot of the class privilege of an active samurai. However, they had none of the full authority behind it or the honor that went with it. They were without a liege lord to be your umbrella, so to speak, for honor purposes. While a peasant still had to get out of your fucking way, and while someone couldn't just X you out, you weren't respected. You were often poor. You were often even poorer than many peasants, but you had your sword. Or swords, because you still kept your daisho, which is the two-sword combo, which could be, well, I know way too much about this
stuff. Sounds like some Samurai Champloo shit.
Fuck yeah, one of my favorite anime ever, Samurai Champloo, represent. Yeah.
Samurai Conditioner is better. Shut up, Swan.
So someone, I don't want to say the name because I might forget who it was. I'm very bad with names, but someone had mentioned on my last video that video was almost a prerequisite for tonight's live stream. Now, you don't have to have watched that, but it's kind of in the same vein. We're going to be talking about some things that are in the same vein tonight, because I think the most important thing right here is to recognize that the majority of people that find themselves on the left-hand path at one point, because they either ejected from a religion or they were ejected by a religion, found themselves in a weird place where they had to find their own spirituality. And that is kind of the definition in a lot of ways. When I stopped being a Christian, and you could argue an atheist, isn't a Ronin, for example, because they sort of have a new master. Well, people on the left-hand path in particular, we are very much of that kind of, like, we could get together with a samurai Ronin and go bowling, and we'd probably have a lot in common, I guess. Probably not. That's a joke. I'm romanticizing a bit. But with the description of them anyway, outcasts from society, they have no master, no lord. They have their own path that they have to walk. And sometimes a Ronin's first, goal is to get a new master. Well, we're Ronin by intention. We do not want masters. We don't want gods that look down upon us as servants. And I don't want to look up to a spirit and say, please gimme. Please, noble Lord, give me my wishes so that I will serve you if I do. Which actually brings me up to a hater who left a comment on the live stream before it went up. And hopefully we can find them and block them from the channel, because these people are idiots. There's a couple of them today. Today seems to be the day of idiots. When is Pluto going retrograde? Is that this week? I know it's soon. But that wouldn't cause idiocy. That's actually a good thing. Pluto going retrograde is actually pretty good. But this one person came on, and if you go in the Discord group, which you can join by doing Fat McGov up there.
Little doobly up there.
Yeah, if you use the Fat McGov, that's scrolling across Flesh Priest's gorgeous dome right now. You will have, well, it's gone now, but it was there a moment ago.
We'll be back.
If you go there and sign up, you can see some of the stuff I'm talking about. And sorry, I've got my window open because it's a little warm tonight. So if you hear a loud train, that's why. So this one person, I forget their name. I blocked them off the channel. It starts with like a C. What was it like? I don't know. I could look it up. They were posting just random nonsense about like Lucifer, go to hell, and all this. Okay, that's pretty par for the course. But this other one, right before the stream, and I'm honoring them too much even by reciting their idiotic statement, but I'd like to respond to it briefly if I can. You know, some people are going to be very diplomatic and be like, oh, well, this is what I think. No, I like giving people the middle finger when they're obviously giving me one back, right? Like, I'm not, why would I be nice? I'm not going to turn the other cheek on that asshole. Where was it? Fleshy, do you want to read the comment? Because I have to find it otherwise.
Oh, bad timing, my bad.
No, you're good, dude.
That comment was... Thorne, pandemic signature not only exposed the limits of the lesser gods you serve, but it also unleashed a special archangel that will lay additional havoc upon your entire community very soon.
Whew. I got chills going up and down my spine. I'm scared, bro. You scared? I'm scared, bro. I don't know. I'm gonna guess.
I'm shaking in my little boots, so no, man.
Imagine being like, here's the thing, you know, they don't even know me. Like they know that I have videos about dark spirits, and they say these things. Like, do you ever like see somebody who's like two gangster, like gangbanger type people about to fight, and one guy's like, you don't know me. That's like how I feel right now. I'm like, you don't even fucking know me. Like, what the fuck are you even saying? You're not even, like, you're coming at me all wrong. Like, I'm gonna do the Christopher. You're coming at me all wrong. I'm gonna stab you in the fucking eye with a soldering iron. You're coming at me all wrong. You gotta talk with respect. All right. So, I'm pretty sure they're either a love and light or a Christian fanatic, most likely. The very first thing I'm gonna say is I'm not even gonna talk about the virus yet. Let's start with the gods you serve. Anybody who knows even 10 minutes of my content or 15 minutes of me personally or anything would say that I'm not even self-serving, let alone serving another spirit. To even call me self-serving, like serving, to me, serving is just, that word is just, that's like a hot coal in my mouth. Like I just, I just want to get rid of it. I hate the idea of service, okay? If I choose kindness, it is because the individual or situation is worthy of that kindness. It has nothing to do. I will not serve anything. I will never kneel and say, give me your orders, sire. And if I do, I am joking and putting my fingers behind my back like that. And just like, I do not serve. Do not serve. I will not do it. You know, the exception would be, of course, you put a gun to my head. I'm going to do what it takes for me to I'll decide in that moment. I can actually see situations where I do the Sudoku thing personally. But I don't serve anything, not even myself. People don't understand the basic principle that I'm going for in my language and in my outreach and my videos and my work. Yes, I obviously have I strut, right? That's what you'd say. If I was a girl, you'd say I have a strut. I definitely have my butt's up in the air. I definitely have a little bit of pride or arrogance, perhaps, in certain areas, yes. But that's been developed because there's two responses to getting stepped on, right? Response number one is, please stop hurting me. Response two is, fuck you, I'm better than you. I don't care if you are winning, I'm still better than you. It's to bite or to fucking whimper and cry. Well, I don't whimper and cry so easily. I fight back, I bite back. So that manifests in me a little bit as an arrogance or you know, don't conflate self-confidence with arrogance. or a surety of your gnosis. If you know something and you speak your truth, people will call you egoistic because of it, because people with a lesser ego, they're always the first one to notice that you have even a shadow of it. Of course you have ego. No human being can't. I mean, no human being can live without one. It doesn't exist. Ego is part of the operation. It's like having a Windows computer without Windows on it. Like what are you doing? Like it doesn't work that way.
That just doesn't work.
Jay Sauber says swagger. Thank you, Jay Sauber. That's right. I don't strut, I swagger. I don't know. Maybe I'm hanging around a little too much with my community people. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Definitely. Okay, I like that. Swagger is definitely better. See, I'm not with it right now. So that's number one. I don't serve any of these things, and calling them lesser gods just shows that you're caught up in that head game of inferior, superior stuff, which is basically ego. You're basically trapped in that ego delusion, where it's one thing to swagger. Thank you, Jay Sauber. I really appreciate that. It's one thing to swagger and to do so benignly and benevolently, to be like, why don't you swagger too? Well, if you don't want to, don't do it, but don't feel like you can't. What's stopping you from swaggering a little bit? Like my wife is hotter when she struts, right? That's just it's so much better when she struts. I'm hotter when I swagger. It's just built into us, guys. It just is. That's not to say that there isn't some femdom fantasy going on somewhere with people where sometimes, there's the opposite is appealing, but it's appealing to people.
I like a woman who can crush me.
Right? Get like a watermelon between, just pop, like, oh yeah, okay.
Just break me in half like a twig.
Break me, you big beast. So that's, I mean, I don't even feel like replying to the rest of that. Everything else is predicated on this I serve thing. But let me go through the other part. This idea that the spirits that I serve were in any way oppositional to what's going on is ludicrous, to quote the man who likes to eat ears. It's ludicrous. The spirits that I work with were very clear that this was a major transitioning event in human culture and consciousness. They weren't sitting there like, we're going to stop it, we're at war with it. If you knew my content at all, you'd know that never once did I say, I'm doing rituals to stop it. If anything, I told you all how inevitable it was. Did I not? Go watch my video with President Marbas. Go watch that one. Don't tell me what I do when you don't even know me, you fool. The spirits that I work with they're not in opposition to this guy. And for those of you who think that that's the case, I apologize, because I'm sure some of you guys really believe that these spirits are, I don't want to say not benign, because I don't feel that to a degree they are quite benign, or benevolent at least. But they're definitely malevolent and diabolical as well. They're very pragmatic. If their goal is to evolve humanity so that we become better vessels for consciousness, right? And I do think that's a piece of what the puzzle is. I don't know if it's the whole story or not. It may be just one little piece of it. But if part of the purpose for the interaction of humans in the spirit world and this apparent progress that humans make on de-evolution at the same time, I've had a long-standing belief that most of human history has been the result of either one or several extinction-level events that brought us back to the Stone Age multiple times, if not once. In other words, at least once. And part of that, somewhere along the line, there is something that doesn't want us to, or maybe it does want us to evolve to be better avatars for consciousness. That is, whatever limitations our physicality has, where we can't sense as much, we can't know as much, we can't integrate our spiritual consciousness as much. I do wonder, because I've seen visions that this was sort of when I say breeding program, I don't mean test tubes and eugenics breeding program. I mean a breeding program where human beings intuitively, when we were in our primordial ape state, whatever that would be, whether that's the plains ape or the aquatic ape. I like the aquatic ape theory personally. To me, that one's the one that I believe in. Doesn't mean it's true, it just means that's the one I like. If even that far back, or maybe further, some kind of consciousness, some kind of avatars, needed some kind of avatar for higher minds to activate in this world, doing whatever is necessary so that we have the proper, brain chemistry so that we can actually function as a better tuning fork for these beings.
Jesus fuck.
To become avatars for these higher beings. If that is potentially true, then I'm certain somebody didn't like that idea and maybe stood in the way and caused the calamities that happened. Maybe. I see Behemoth X.
Yeah, shout out to Behemoth X who just dropped a super chat with that 666 with a 6.
Oh my God, that's not just a super chat dude, he dropped that, hit like a freaking, like that was a brick that just landed. Thank you, brother. Holy shit. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I wish you'd put like a comment now. I feel like you bought like 20 minutes of my time. You should get a rant out of it at least. Holy shit. Thank you, Behemoth X. Thank you so much. Please tell me that you're in a position where I can actually get you to be a guest someday soon, because that would be like, that's going to be up there. Like when I had EA Quetting on and JD and some other people.
That's going to be
like
putting
it goes
on the
like
fancy
on my
clothes
mantle
stream.
Yes, that's definitely, I want to, even if you're just a call-in, that's going to go like it's going to go on my trophy shelf. I will definitely appreciate that if you're willing to do it sometime, brother, or vice versa if you want me on yours. But fuck yeah, man, I'd like to pick his brain. Tell me, like, as much as I love EA, Behemoth's setup is stunning. Like, it's not just, it's like I would get lost in that ritual. I just want to sit there and just do rituals on me, Daddy. Just do them. Just do the rituals. It's okay.
They both have killer fucking setups, and I like them for different reasons. I think Behemoth's is a little bit more just like, Behemoth's is more just, okay, this is very purposeful, and EA's is a little bit more like, EA's has a little bit of a fun streak to it. Like, I just want to start picking shit off the walls and swinging it around.
A little shamanistic, right? A little natural, a little bit crazy, a little bit hippie, a little bit evil, a little bit everything. I like EA's, but Behemoth is the one that like I would just sit in there and I'd have a problem. I'd have to because that's like my vision of my future some days, to have something like that. And that's not even bringing up his skill.
I am kind of curious for people in the chat. What do you guys like about EA and Behemoth's setups? Any thoughts there?
I'd like to read those comments for sure. Thank you, Ace the Goblin. What's up, brother? I was playing that music that I let you borrow. Hopefully you make something with it that's good. But that was 7th Street Shogun or something like that. I forget what I call it. 7th Avenue Shogun, I think is what the name of that one is. But so anyway, back to this guy who's like being all critical and idiotic. So he's talking about the angel that's coming to punish us all and everything. You're trapped in the same delusion that all of these other people are. You're really, I really feel bad for you. You're trapped in a situation where you think good is supposed to triumph over evil, or that evil is supposed to triumph over good. They're not trying to triumph over anything. They're not. It doesn't work that way. If you think it works that way, that just shows how unevolved your spirituality is. The spirit world is not at war with each other. That is not to say they don't have conflict. But to say that they're at war with each other is absurd. Yes, they have the egregore of war. You could argue, you could say, yeah, but there's a lot of myths about war. Yes, of course. But they're not actually battling over the fate of the universe. That's nonsense. When people tell you that, they're trying to extract money out of you, is really what it 99.9% of the time is. Either that, or they're just really weak spiritually, and they really do believe that the universe is out to get half of the population of the universe, that the light and the dark are fighting over which one should win. Absolute nonsense. Nonsense. Now, the conflicts they have, when we talk about the forces of light and darkness, it's the same kind of conflict between a tire and a road, or between your hands in the ocean, or between a high pressure system and a low pressure system. They need the friction, and they need the counter energy, the counter presence, the counter pressure, so that they can have this apparent movement, change, and meaning. But that is all trivial. That's all just part of the show. It's all part of the act. It's like watching WWF wrestling. Nobody's really getting hurt, and if they do, they went off script, and it wasn't
that kayfabe.
Yeah. So don't stress out about the battles. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to transition to people were talking about the setups. I was going to read some of those comments.
Oh, good. Yeah, let's hear that real quick.
Yeah, so I'll say right at the top, as I'm reading these, I kind of thought, I wonder if their setups say something about the person. Greg DeDamon, 420, just the overall time and effort they put into their setups is inspiring. David Redenzo, Behemoth is grounded and secure in the earth. EA is more of a lightning rod.
Hell yeah.
Wild card.
Totally true. Especially, I mean, EA's kind of like, he's kind of a rainbow, and I don't mean that in the way that we joke around about. He's kind of, he's all over. But Behemoth is, I'm not saying limited to earth, but absolutely earth element. I don't know if he's a Taurus or not, but he's earth element through and through in so many ways. And at least in his demeanor, maybe he's like Taurus ascendant or something like that, or whatever that is. So it's possible, but for sure. But EA always strikes me. He's like true neutral or chaotic neutral if it was D&D.
Yeah, I get a little bit more of the chaotic neutral vibes. But yeah, off what people are saying in here, everybody seems to be saying that they're very, both of them are very pleasing. Everybody seems to generally be in agreement that Behemoth's is very directed or very purposeful, whereas EA's is very, I'm going to go back to that wild card statement. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Definitely, like I said, he's got that shaman vibe going on, even though it's not intended, I don't think. Maybe it is, but he's got very much a shaman vibe where it's kind of like, over here is the skull that was the tiger that bit my grandfather, and now it serves me and over here is a candle that I barfed on one time in ayahuasca ritual, and over here. And it's all beautiful and powerful. Like, I say that, I don't mean that in a mocking way.
No,
I mean that
in
like, that takes like some serious spiritual balls to do that. It's not a joke. It's like, that's badass. Hopefully you guys like my setup too, although I haven't shown it off in a while. It's been quite a few months since I've done a public ritual. So hopefully you guys like mine too. For those of you who are new, if you look, you know what, I should do a playlist of my live rituals instead of just hoping you guys find them in the occult playlist. I'm going to go through, hopefully I get the energy to do that. I'm going to go through, there's probably about 10 of them in all, live ritual performances that I've done to varying degrees of success. So hopefully you guys check those out. Totally unscripted, you know what I mean? But yeah, so back to the war thing. So the spirit world, it's not at war. It's not at war with you. It's not at war with the fate of humanity. It's not like that. That isn't to say that humans aren't at war. Humans are at war. And as above, so below. So we tend to pattern either a reflection of a spiritual conflict. Again, that's not war. I know it seems like I'm splitting hairs, but I'm not. Down here, it's a war. Up there, it's just, big energy A is moving over here and littler energy B is sliding that way. And where they rub up against each other, conflicts on Earth turn into war, turn into real struggles and conflicts. Because humanity, being a lower vibrational, and I say that in the lingo, I don't mean that literally, but being of a lower vibrational awareness, we act on it in very brutish, primitive ways. Instead of just everybody going their own way, we try to control everything all the time. We still think that any of this matters the way that we want it to matter. And so when it doesn't, we go to war over it and we kill each other over it and we try to control the planet over it. And it's really stupid. It's really stupid. Instead of being in harmony with things, people go, oh, left-hand path, that means you should be very much, no. I'm adversarial, yes, as a left-hander, but it doesn't mean that I hate life.
It doesn't mean contrarian for the sake of it.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, Pepsi is the #1 brand. That means I must like, I don't know, fucking insert whatever else here. It just be, no, it just means I go with what I want to go with. People keep, I've seen it twice in the chat, and I like the comparison, coloring outside of the lines.
To a point. I mean, certainly not on purpose, though, right? I'm not sitting there going like, oh, lines, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want. It's just that if I feel that I need to put a tail and a mustache on some chick and do it and make her into something else, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't care what your lines say.
The lines are only
But I still respect
guidelines.
the lines. Yes, that's the great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. So someone said David Rodezno. I'm probably saying that wrong. Throne. I don't know. I think that must be a spell correction. I think everybody's. It's actually Thorne, like Thorne in your side. But he says, and I take it as a huge compliment. Has an undercurrent of sinister child. I take that as a huge compliment. You know, the Yetzirah or the cantankerous old, Zen monk are very childish and they're very sinister in a lot of ways. And I'm totally loving that. For sure. Like when I heard that, I'm like, I let that echo in my head for a minute. I'm like, do I like that or do I not like that? Do I want to be seen as a wizened old master? No, those fuckers are stuffy and boring. No, I want to be seen as that irreverent Luciferian child that's just like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
You want to be playful with it.
And then, yes, being playful with it. And, I hope, beyond all hope, that I never lose the mind of a child. And you can ask my wife. I'm very childish. Like we play with stuffed animals, like when we're hanging out. My wife and I, we're sitting there like la 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 la, and we just do childish shit. I play video games. I'm 44 years old. I don't take life seriously at all. I treat it like a game, and I'm happy as fuck because of it. Even when shit's falling apart, I'm not saying I never have a bad day, but I'm happy as fuck all the time. That's a total lie, but I'm happier than most of you.
And David did say it is a compliment, and yes, it was spell check.
Thank you, David.
Oh, who said
Appreciate
it?
You,
Arachnos says Team Dr. Pepper, and Arachnos is onto something. That is the true left-hand path black magic soda choice, because how do they get 23 flavors into a little bottle? That is some black magic right there.
Oh no. Oh man, I'm not even sure what to say to that. I'm not even sure. I would say like Soda Stream is the left hand because you're doing it your own way. No, I don't know. Dude, we'll have to do a whole gag episode where we compare and contrast food, like which is more left hand.
You see, the true left-hand path is walking into the 7-Eleven, going to the Slurpee machine with a big gulp cup and going, shh, 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 shh. I'll have a little bit of everything. Oh, thank you.
With no shirt and no shoes and still getting service, like the song says. Because they know I'll curse their ass otherwise.
My mind makes reality. You perceive me with a shirt and rippling abs.
I mean, if you're furry enough and well built, maybe.
Okay, I think I've fucking sidetracked. We were talking about Ronins.
Yeah, well, we were getting to that because we were just talking about battles, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
See, like, I'm weird. I don't plan these things, but I am so good at flying by the seat of my pants. I can go that way and end up over there where I meant to go. I'm awesome like that. I'm not, but anyway, I'm lucky is what it is. So here we're talking about these battles between good and evil and angels and demons and God, Yahweh, and the lesser gods or blah, 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 bullshit like that. This is one of the reasons why so many of us are Ronin, is because of idiots like this. And they exist in every single magical community I've been in, every single spiritual community, every single community, period. It is a natural tendency. Just like it's natural for humanity to be slaves, it's also natural for some human beings to take advantage of that and try to act like they're in command of things and try to rule over one another and cause all of this drama, okay? So we're at war with one another because of these kinds of things, these ideological wars. And a lot of us are fed up. We don't want this anymore. The universe is too big. The multiverse has too many universes in it for this to be where we're stuck. It just is. There's no reason for us to take it this seriously, what happens on this little dirt ball. That's not to say that you let crises happen. What it means is you got to let go. The only reason it's happening is because you won't let go. You've got to let go and recognize that the only way to win is to not play this game anymore. That means the social game in terms of social justice. That means, wars and all of this stuff. We've got to step back and reevaluate how we think about the meaning of our being here. Too many people want to control things, and every religion has suffered because of it. There is no such thing as a good religion. Every religion has damaged our spirituality. I don't care if that religion preserves some beautiful wisdom. I don't care if that religion has some good practices. Religion is a huge mistake in human society. The only way is for the individual to be an honest seeker and look for whatever it is that makes them tick spiritually. That doesn't mean that they can't study something that is collected into the collected works of this conceptual philosophical idea. That's not what I mean. That's not a religion. People will say, well, Thorne, you're always talking about non-dualism and you're usually using Vedanta when you do it. Yes, but I'm not a Vedanta religion. I'm not Hindu. I don't practice that religion. I study that metaphysical theory and I regurgitate it, and usually I know it way, way before I read it. It sounds like I'm bragging, but it shocks me. It shocks me that I woke up one day and everything that I already thought is stuff everyone already said. I jokingly say that I'm waiting for a bunch of bald-headed guys to come and ask me to pick between a bowl and a feather and a putting cap or something. Oh, master! I'm waiting for that. I sometimes joke. I mean that as a joke. I'm not taking myself that seriously, but it creeps me out sometimes. And that's how I know I'm on target. That's how I know, because synchronicity works that way. Synchronicity happens more when you're aligned with what is. So when that kind of weird stuff happens and I go, that's really weird. How come it seems like I knew this already? I take it as a sign I'm doing it right. That doesn't mean that I am infallible. It doesn't mean any of that crap, because I know my haters are going to hear this and go, oh, he's so full of himself. Oh, downvote. Read between the lines.
Pull up the Geif.
Oh, I forgot the Geif. Yes, the Geif. Yes. I'm going to leave it running. So many of my haters, that's me, but I'm totally like a Thulsa Doom. Like I see myself as like a slightly different Thulsa Doom. Yeah. My haters are going to hear that and they're going to have a fucking field day and eat that up with a fork. Stop listening to my words and listen to between them. I said on my Facebook recently, I made a post, and I don't remember word for word, but I basically came clean for everybody. I said, I'm not telling you what I really think, because nobody would buy it. There isn't a single enlightened master who can tell you what they know. I'm not saying that that's what I have. But not a single person that has their shit together here can tell you. If it worked that way, there would be schools and academies of spiritual wisdom, and they don't exist really. You have monasteries, that's kind of like the same thing, but they don't produce results. They're a sanctuary for people who want to seek. That's all they're meant to be. A proper monastery isn't a school. It doesn't teach you to be enlightened. That's absurd. It's ridiculous. All it is a sanctuary where people who want to seek in peace can do so. That's it, with materials that are available. Anybody who says it should be something else is doing a right-hand travesty, a right-hand abomination to spirituality. When you go to a Christian monastery and they're just pounding education into your head. When you go to a lot of Zen, Shaolin monasteries, they're pounding things in your head to teach you what to believe. I don't like that. That's not what I'm talking about. To me, a proper monastery, if I were going to do this whole let's build Thorne's commune or whatever the hell you want to call it, my bunker community, my compound, okay, in the middle of Waco. If I was going to do that, while I would encourage certain kinds of things there because it would just be adversarial and bad otherwise, like if I had a community of people that all hated each other as beliefs, it wouldn't work. So while I would sort of say, hey, yeah, we should all probably be of this kind of, position, it would be open to every study. It would be totally eclectic. It would be totally open to whatever magic or whatever style of spirituality fits in that general left-hand principle. And it wouldn't be teaching you one way. It would be teaching you whatever way you wanted to study. And if you wanted to share it with other people, you could. That would be, I would love that. I would go there and I would live there and I'd probably never leave my room. I'd probably play World of Warcraft all day because I'd probably be finally at peace.
That's kind of like the difference. You've trained people before, yeah? Like on a job site?
Lots of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that martial arts, yeah.
My favorite way to train people, taking it to woodworking because that's what I know really well, obviously. It's like, I'd like to tell people enough that I'm not worried about a fucking amputation there, but it doesn't tend to work very well when you're showing people this is the way you do it, this is the way you do it. People get a lot more out of just let them go play, let them go make the mistakes, do whatever. It's figuring it out themselves. Sometimes they'll come up with better ways than what you know, and they're just gonna figure it out. It'll all make sense.
It's hard to explain what I'm picturing because nothing's as free as it should be. Like nothing's as open as it could be. But I'd like something open, just a spiritual center for left-hand people. That would be the big limitation. The left-hand spiritual academy, a spiritual, what would you call it? I don't know. We'll come up with a name.
Center for kids who can't read good and want to learn how to do other things good too.
We'll give it a fake title so that everyone in the neighborhood just thinks that we're there to like teach kids stuff, and really we're going, praise Satan.
Oh man, I'm gonna be busy coming up with an acronym suddenly.
Right? Let's do Cream, like that old Prince song, Cream. This way we can play that at every. No, I'm being weird. I feel like I had did I have caffeine? No, my soda has no caffeine. I'm acting like I've had caffeine tonight. I'm very bouncy. So let me recenter. Let me recenter a little bit. Let me go back to mellow Thorne.
Goosefraba, my child.
I think that the vast majority of people need to know. I am not here to tell you the right way. I'm not here to tell you any of that nonsense. I'm not here to teach you this. I'm just here to share my journey and what I think is true. But I will never be able to tell you what I truly think. I cannot communicate that. People would not, what I said before, that I wouldn't be able to live financially if I told you what I think. It's because all my videos would be just me sitting here like this. There wouldn't be anything coming out of my mouth. What I think is not what is. Thoughts are not real. If I taught you that, if I could teach you anything, it wouldn't be to stop thinking. It would be to learn to not think so that you can find out what you are when your thoughts aren't there anymore. That is a key. That is why meditation is so important. That's why all of my magic classes that I've been doing on Mondays There have been 12 of them, so all but like 1 or 2 have been different forms of meditation. Really all the same kind, but with different themes and different things we're working on. To me, that is kindergarten in spiritual magic. If you don't have the capacity to, one way or another, have altered states of consciousness, and I wouldn't say that chemical is a reliable way. It's a way. It'll definitely kick the door open for you, but it's not, by itself is not sufficient. It's like a battering ram. Boom! But it's not, it doesn't give you the answers. None of it will. But if you don't learn, because the problem with the, I'm kind of scatterbrained a little bit tonight, but the problem with the chemical version of what I'm talking about, not a moral problem. The problem with it is you don't put 2 and 2 together when all you have is the chemical. You may have a non-local experience. You may have a disembodied ego death experience. You may have that. And that may be very powerful for you. But you may still believe that the chemical is what caused it. You could believe. See, I have every intention of doing the whole Kwisatz Haderach, sleeper has awakened, heroic dose of something someday.
I got that reference.
But, yeah, I'm glad. If you didn't catch that reference, watch Dune or read it, please. But I am not starting with that. That's going to be the final confirmation for me, if that makes sense. Because I've already, this is where it sounds like I can't say it, because it's not, I can't say from firsthand because I've never had the chemical version. But everybody I know who has, when I tell them what I've done and seen, believe, they're like, that sounds exactly like what I found out. Excellent. Can you do that without the chemical? Oh, no, I need that chemical. You're not broken. It's not a judgment. But you've had the door battered down. Now you need to learn to walk through it. When you walk through that door, you find out that these substances, they are valuable. They're a gift from nature for us, so that we can see between the veil. So we can see that the veil is an illusion, that there is no difference between the one world and this one. The only difference, it's like when you focus with a telescope. Have you ever looked at something far away with a camera or a telescope, and as you zoom in and out, different things come into focus, obviously, and other things don't, to the point where you can get disoriented? Your consciousness has done that through you. You've zoomed in almost like a microscope on this tiny little thing. And when you pull away from that microscope or that telescope, the disorientation is dramatic. And death, as we call it, is one version of that. When you pull that away from you, you go, oh shit, I see everything, I don't like it, it's not good, I don't like this. Bring me back another telescope, quick. I need another microscope. I was D.H. Thorne. I want to be Elvis next time.
Oh hey.
So can I jump in real quick?
No. Yes.
We're gonna call our compound the Lair of the Unholy Calling, an institute for fractal exploration and recreation, aka Lucifer.
All right. Actually, I was thinking, because it's a work in progress, I was actually thinking the League of Calamitous Intent sounds great, because I love Venture Brothers, and I want to have David Bowie as the leader of the compound.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! We should do an episode exploring David Bowie's dives into magic.
We should. I don't know much about it, so I'll once again be your guinea pig as you're the researcher. I think that would be fun. So people think I know a lot of stuff. I really don't. I really don't know. I'm not saying I make shit up, but I will say that a lot of times by the seat of my pants, I've figured stuff out that yeah, not gonna lie.
You're more wisdom than it. That sounds backhanded. Say you're more wisdom than intelligence. You know what I mean in the D&D context.
I mean, I do have an IQ of around 140, so I'm not really insulted. That just means my wisdom IQ must be like 200. I'll take it. Behemoth, I love you, brother. Thank you so much. Please, I'm going to bother you soon. I've been giving you space to get settled in your house, but I want to bother you I want to get you on a freaking live stream one day. So please, please, please. You're always so nice. In fact, the other night you were trying to send me something and I wasn't awake, so I missed that. But let's talk soon, brother.
You go edit the fucking glorious content for the people, and we look forward to seeing it. You have a good night, you
in fact,
bastard.
When we have our millions of dollars, I want Behemoth X to be the official, like, videographer / editor of all of our, propagandistic promotional materials, because that's what I want. For sure. It's all going to be by then it'll be like 10K. It won't even be 4K anymore. It'll be 10K by then. So you'll need like 17 computers just to process like 2 frame rate.
You'll need like 12 mentats all holding hands. Just
yes. Yeah. all just chugging the juice of snafu.
I'm learning Dune.
I say snafu because it's funnier to me instead of safu. The juice of snafu. Like, that's like the nerd version.
Oh, hey, Jay Thomas, speaking of Bowie, Jay Thomas just pointed out Neil Gaiman specifically had the illustrator for the comic Lucifer draw Lucifer as David Bowie.
That's sick. That's sick for sure. I like that. Yeah, that'd be an interesting conversation. Just all the different ways Lucifer's appeared to people, I mean, that would be pretty fun. For sure.
Yeah, I think it would just be interesting to fucking post-it note here for some time. It would be interesting just to do a live stream, just deep dive on specific spirits.
I would like to do that, but at some point it runs counter to the spiritual Ronin point of this video.
Very fair.
On some level. You will note that in my book, I specifically mention that I am the opposite of what most other occultists would tell you. I tell you to do minimal research. You need some, but I tell you to do minimal research on a spirit before you work with them.
I feel...
Now, the minimum can be quite a bit, believe it or not. Like, I'd say my videos are like the absolute maximum that I'd recommend. I wouldn't go any more... Not saying that because I want you to just watch mine and nobody else's. I'm saying... Sometimes I even go too deep and I say too much.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you too, because I feel like the worst thing you can do for yourself when you're trying to work with a new spirit, like an established spirit, is to go and I'm going to watch all the YouTube videos on them first. Get everybody else's impression. By then, it's just like, wow. You're kind of shooting.
There's no room.
Yeah, there's no fucking room, and also from a certain angle, how can you can't really confirm anything that you're getting. You can't get any new take on it. You're just rehashing. You're fucking seeing it from their perspective, and not from your own. You're not coming at it with your own unique lens, and exactly. I really feel like that's important.
For all you know, you are copying what other people said.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it that way. Now again, my take, and that is to demystify the spirits a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
To see them as the language is like a minefield here, because if I say mental constructs, people will misunderstand my point and think that I mean that they're just made up when you're just made up too. So I have to be careful how I word things. But a common question I get from everybody: how do I know they're here? How do I know what I saw was real? How come I didn't hear anything? And I said, well, did you have thoughts? Well, yeah, but I knew they were my thoughts. Yeah, but what did they say? What did those thoughts say? And they go, well, it said that I should do what I thought, blah, 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 something wise. I'm like, well, why didn't you listen to it? Well, it's just my thoughts. I know I thought them. Aha. Okay. Sure. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. I'm not going to unpack it all right now. But if I were to do entire streams on just one spirit, becomes too much like Sunday school.
Yeah,
becomes too
fair.
much like church.
Fair.
You know? Yeah. And I want you to have the experience. I did a video, or was it a blog post a long time ago, where I said, it's my magic and you can't have it. It was very bratty. Because a lot of people, you know, when you first appear on the scene, everybody wants to know if they can get a ritual from you, if they can get a spell. Could you give me a spell to bring back my ex? Could you give me a spell to this? And like, it's funny because when you come out in the community doing this stuff, there's this gauntlet you have to run of just all of these people who, I mean, I am obviously a little flattered, but there's this gauntlet of people that you got to run through that think magic is a gimme vending machine. Those are like the first people you got to deal with, and they're just everywhere. And that's like the first test. Do you fall for it as a practitioner? Do you fall for the smell of your own farts, basically? You know, it's my work. I'm working on me. I'm working on my world. I'm seeking to integrate myself. And you notice I went like this, not this. I'm seeking all of this is me. I'm seeking to integrate it all. Not whatever that is. That's not what I'm trying to do. Do I play with it? Sure. Of course I do. But that's totally different than thinking that, you know, I'm a wish master. And all you got to do is come to me and you get your wish. That's stupid.
I feel like that's really... I don't know. I feel like the people who want that, it comes from a perspective of they don't feel like their own magic is good enough or powerful enough, or I don't know, they just want somebody else to do it for them. They don't have the time or energy. I don't know. I really, really, really don't feel like you need somebody else to do it for you. The most powerful magic for your problem is going to be your own.
I agree. I mean, like I said, I don't have animosity towards all of them, but it is a gauntlet. And it's usually, so it's like the Nigerian scammers telling you how to join the Illuminati are on your left or right, and the other guys are on the other side, and they're all just hurling bricks at you. Like, you know, join us over here, do this. Well, will you join the Illuminati? Will you do spells for me? Will you do this? And it gets kind of silly really fast. And yes, actually, the people that I'm more inclined to do magic for are those that really, there's no litmus tests. There's no reason. I've had people come to me that are like, you're my last hope. I'm going to be homeless soon if you don't do magic. I'm like, nope, sorry. You got this. That's that Lucifer in me kicking up, because that's how Lucifer responds to. Lucifer doesn't grant wishes. Maybe he'll lead you around and say he does, but I know someone's going to say, I did a curse with Lucifer and it worked. Okay. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm just saying my Lucifer that I talk to is like Crom from Conan. If you pray to him, it better be about how you're going to do it. He doesn't want to hear how he's going to do it for you. He wants you to rise.
The thing that I say is he's a little bit more of that throw you in the pool and watch as you try to learn how to swim.
I mean, he'll put the little bubbles on you, but yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not the big bubbles. Like the Christians would be like, oh, give him a damn life preserver. He's like, he'll be fine. You know, CPR. You know, I'm not saying that it's like complete throw to the wolves, but it's pretty close, you know. Lucifer, when he does anything with me, for me, of that sort, it's like, here's a book, read it. Or you know, when I'm like, Lucifer, could you open my third eye? He's like, no, you're going to do it. Here, do this exercise with a chi ball. And just completely feel it, like it just comes out of nowhere. I just do this thing and I go, whoop, I feel it. I feel a difference. Did he do it? No, I did it. He's just like, yes, charge it a little more. Yes. That's what he's like. And that's what he's like for me. Maybe he's different for everybody else. Eddie's here. He says he popped a whole bunch of... Are you doing droogs? Don't do droogs, Edie. Edie, are you doing droogs?
Are you on the Drugas?
Are you on the drugas? Are you injecting the marijuana sticks?
Oh, he is the drugger.
That's true. That's true. He's the drugger now. Jen Votz is here. What's up, my sister? We should get her back on one of these days.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Actually, you know what I'd like to do soon? Jen, it's always fun to have a movie night. We got to do a movie night very soon.
Yeah, we haven't done anything in a while.
We need to do... It's been almost a month or maybe more, actually. Yeah, it's been more than a month. We should tentatively plan. I'm working weekends again, so it's been a little tough for me, but that's just for fun, really. I'm not even... it's for a little bit of money and fun. So, yeah. That's okay, Jen. Don't worry about it. That's okay. You're fine. It's just good to see you. Thank you for coming around. She says, sorry, I haven't been around much. Been agitated as fuck with my living situation, and things have been a fucking war zone in my neighborhood. I can only imagine. Eddie says they're prescribed, so, well, do as thou wilt with that birth control you're injecting into your soul there, my friend. I'm kidding. So, yeah. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this spiritual Roninity.
Yeah,
How many... You speak. Go ahead.
I'm
going to listen to the train coming.
I really liked that comparison of left-hand path to the Ronin, because now that you're saying all of that, it really seems to align itself a lot. Because, I mean, there are a lot of people who think what we do is pretty fucking crazy. And it really is finding your own way, tying it in with what you said with religion compared to spirituality. I really feel like the best path is never following what has been established or set up by somebody else, is knowing, reading the book, but having the strength to say, no, they fucked that part up, or that's just wrong.
Or as Reagan said, trust but verify. Yeah, certainly, I mean, I know what you meant when you said don't follow. It doesn't mean you are contrarian to their path. You just say, okay, they went that way and they came back and they got this information. I'm going to try that path, but I'm not going to just follow their footsteps exactly. I'm going to go in that direction, see what happens.
It's like if you're going through the uncharted frontier, something, and somebody hands you a map. It's like, well, I'll consider this map and I'm going to follow it because this does seem to be like the best path. But now suddenly I'm at the fork in the road and the path you marked, that just doesn't seem right. I'm discarding this map now.
Yeah. Like we said, the lines are just a suggestion. But the Ronin it's a great analogy because how many of you guys in the comments, if you feel free to tell me, how many of you guys in the comments let us know, did you eject rebelliously from a religion or were you ejected from one? Did you feel outcast? Either way. I'm going to say pretty much probably 100% because you wouldn't be here if you were somebody who was happily stuck in some right-hand path tradition, right? But I'm pretty sure you all felt for at least a while, if not even now, like you don't have a spiritual home. That is to say, you don't have a master. And I know a lot of demonology will be like, I do, Satan's my new guy. Okay, that's fine, I guess. If that's what you really want to believe, that's great. But that's not my way. I'm not telling you to follow me. I'm just telling you my way is not to do that. My way is, if just for argument's sake, Christians are right and I die, and I'm standing there at the pearly gates and St. Peter's judging me, and all of the things that I have done that have been done with sincerity, truly seeking spiritual answers, not just turning them down because it's got one label on it or another. In other words, I don't have a resentful soul. I am not a sinner for sin's sake. If I'm turned away at that gate because I didn't pronounce Jesus' name right, or I didn't worship on the right day of the week, or I masturbated 500,000 times too many, give or take, or whatever, then bring them out. Boom, and I'm gonna just send me right down. I don't want no part of that. And if I go down there and the same thing happens, If I go down to hell and the same thing happens, I'll be like, why are we all just sitting here and not kicking his ass?
Oh, let me at him. Let me at him.
No, look, if you're going to torment me for all eternity, then I'm going to go out with a bang, right? I'm going to try.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try. I'm probably going to fail, but I'm going to try. Because that can't be true. And if it is true, then I resent the whole thing. I resent all of it. I resent God, the devil, every fucking bit of it. Fuck you both. I don't want none of it. I don't want your heaven. I don't want your hell. I want you to leave me alone. Just because I didn't say the word right, I didn't go to church on Sunday, I didn't tithe, or because I dishonored Satan's name, because I didn't fall down on my knees in front of him or her, as the case may be.
Yeah.
You're all fucking psychos. Get out of here.
Fuck them.
You're psychos who believed it. Yeah, exactly. Fuck them.
Like I would rather be.
Sweetie, go get my katana. I want to do my samurai bit.
I would rather be living down the train tracks than living under your house under your rules. Fuck you. I don't need you.
Yeah. My own fucking. I'm gonna make my own heaven with hookers and blackjack. And Flesh will be the one with the fucking the fucking. I don't know. You pick a game. Craps. I don't know. What do you want to run?
I'll be sitting there with spiritual monopoly. Oh, I hope you don't land on Zen Buddhism because I have 2 motels. Oh, you go to purgatory.
Go directly to jail. Go directly to purgatory. Do not pass nirvana. Do not pass non-dualism. Land on non-dualism. Collect what's in the center of the board. Oh man, because you're one with everything. Oh man.
Oh my fucking god. Oh, we need to call Hasbro. Yeah. Ooh, what are the playing pieces gonna be? So there's a yin yang.
A cross, yeah, yin yang, a cross, a menorah maybe, or Star of David, something like that. Pentagram, all that shit, just little fucking tokens. And I definitely like Park Place, or whatever, free parking. I like that being the non-dualism. And Go would be.
What would be the utilities?
And Go. I was getting to that because Go was going to be like the reincarnation. Would be reincarnation. Fucking free parking would be non-dualism. The one would be you'd have hell, and then what's the other one on the other side from the jail? What's that one?
Isn't that Go?
No, Go is across from free parking.
It's free parking. I don't know, but before I forget, Jay Sauber said Flesh Priest won't be one of the hookers. I like you, dude.
I mean, he could be. He could be the hooker that does baccarat or something like that. And or whatever. No, it's gonna be. I see you doing craps and dice, man, because you could like lean forward seductively, like with the stick, and like pull all the fucking. The pieces.
I'm the rarest of the hookers. I'm the hooker that can deal you in on spiritual monopoly and do things with my belly button. Just.
I just realized that, like, our vibe, dude. You ever see the movie Year One? We should make that a movie night if you haven't seen it.
I haven't. No.
Fucking Year One or Years? I think it's Year One, or is it Year Zero? I think it's Year One. It's this funny ass movie, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically like the dawn of time. And you remind me of one of the dudes from it, and I remind me of one of the dudes from it. We could totally we got to binge that one.
Oh,
maybe tomorrow night if we don't play a game, maybe I'm gonna insist that we do that.
Okay.
When it's just you, me, and the wife, maybe we'll watch Year One or Year Zero, whatever it's called.
Also, I just looked it up. So there's Go on one corner. The next corner is the jail and the little pass around the jail thing. Then it's free parking, and then it's the go to jail square.
Oh fuck yeah, okay. So that would be maybe Apocalypse or Judgment Day or something like that.
Yeah, the seventh horn.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, for sure. And then
Crisis.
So the utilities. So the utilities, I guess those would be like church, synagogue, Buddhist temple. Like, because those are the ways, like that would be the railroads, right? That would be them. But the utilities, what would that be? Oh, like chi and prana, like chi and prana.
Okay, yeah, I dig that.
Like something like that.
I dig that.
Right? Something like that. Maybe, yeah, because that's the two big ones everybody talks about is chi and prana. prana. So, okay. Chi and prana.
Well, welcome to the DH Thorne live streams, where you sign on for spiritual Ronism and you get fucking Monopoly talk.
Spiritual Monopoly instead.
I love our streams.
So, you know what? It's like you can't stick to a topic for like 3 hours straight. I mean, if you try, you just go crazy. But
I do genuinely love the stream of consciousness bullshit, because there's, as somebody who loves listening to podcasts, I like when it's a really centered and focused thing for like 20, 30 minutes maybe, but any longer than that, and there really needs to just be natural conversation and things to break things up. It helps you digest things a lot easier.
Yeah, like my classes, the last one was a little shorter. I went down to about an hour, hour and a half instead of 2 hours. I like that a little better, because I think, not that I don't want to do 2 hours from time to time, that's not the problem. It's that at some point it's like, okay, what else is there left to talk about this subject? Ugh, and I live for the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
And the T&A. But the Q&A is the part that I live for sure. To me, like, I can't stand trying to create a lesson plan that works for everybody.
Oh,
to me,
it's so hard.
It is. To me, especially when it's something like this, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's going to a different direction. We're all going to the same place, but we're all going in a different direction. And
well,
it's hard.
I feel like, creating that creating that lesson plan or whatever, just sitting there telling everybody, oh, okay, so you should try this and whatnot. That I hope you get what I'm pointing at, and I'm not saying this is a one-to-one comparison by any means, but that is more of like the religious way of doing it, whereas the Q&A, open conversation, like let's just bounce things off one another. That's more of the spirituality, like everybody's doing their own thing, but we're touching base type of path. It's so much more enjoyable, I think.
I think you're right. Well, I mean, there's actually, if you go to certain Buddhist temples, Zen temples, whatever, there's a practice where they just like interrogate each other.
That's the
I forget what it's called. Well, they do it in a nice way. No, I mean, it's a good thing. They literally, they start with something and they go back and forth quickly with what their thoughts are on it, and it's not a yes or no thing. I mean, it's not I shouldn't say that. It's not a right or wrong thing. It is, you just, usually it's a master, someone who's a higher rank, and a student, and they just go back and forth like this. I forget what it's called. Maybe somebody more educated than me will speak up in the chat. But it's quite useful. It's quite useful. But I do that to my own head. So I like inverting questions. I like inverting spiritual questions, especially spiritual questions.
Do you that that fucking meme template where there's the guy with the big brain coming out, and it's not only forming, his own brain is not only forming a seat for him, but also another player for his chessboard? That's what I imagine you doing with just spiritual bullshit. Just, yes, well, if you do think that way, then I will have to move my rook over here. Have you considered this?
I guess. I never saw that meme, but now that you're describing it, I can picture it. I mean, I guess. I mean, and once in a while, it's Lucifer sitting across from me or something. Is that my brain too? Don't care. Don't care.
That's still you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't care either way. Doesn't matter. And I have these conversations with myself or myselves or my other selves or whatever. And it's not always with words, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to talk about my brain anymore. Fuck my brain. Don't care. I'm done talking about my brain.
So
done.
I feel like this Ronin conversation was building to a big crescendo. We were so what made you make this comparison between the Ronin and the left-hand path?
It's romantic as fuck.
Well, yeah, fair. I'm not gonna lie.
Right?
I'm sitting here the moment that you explained it, like, yeah, that gives me so many just adventure
Spirit boners.
Mm.
Yeah. Again, in the comments, be honest. Do you guys belong to a religion? My last video talking about are you really a Christian or not wasn't trying to imply that necessarily working with the demons makes you a Christian, but it's, are you still entrapped in religious dogma in some way? Not because it is possible to completely eradicate it from your brain. Well, even if it is, that's not the point. The point is to recognize if you're on the left-hand path, like Belial without a master, you're a Ronin without a master. If you immediately jump back into having one, you haven't learned a thing. And something comes up in my brain that was coming up before, talking about how people who get spiritual awakening seem crazy. And we always say, like, oh yeah, of course, because awakenings make you different, and so therefore you seem crazy. No, it's worse than that. It's actually worse than that. When you have a whole bunch of people walking headlong into a wood chipper, do you want them to be going, hey, that's the right way, good job, I'm glad you're going that way? It's even worse than just you're different, and so you seem crazy. It is that they are in a kind of spiritual suicide, and they don't know it. And maybe you are too, to be honest. I'm not saying that just because everyone thinks you're crazy means you're right. But people who are trying to conform to a religious doctrine and dogma is really unhealthy. And you have, this actually goes the other way. If your first reaction to me saying, are you still a Christian, is for you to go, fuck you, I ain't a Christian anymore, I have to beg you the question, why does that bother you?
It still has
Are
some
you not
power.
Are you right? Or are you not still conforming to something else now? Didn't you just invert something? Didn't you just deny something because you don't want to be seen as being that other thing? Can you pick up a Bible right now and read through it and not be offended? Can you see the wisdom in the Old Testament or the New Testament? Can you find any wisdom in it? Or do you just take a shit on the whole thing? See, human beings have a binary issue.
Of all
For
or
them,
nothing.
everything it's all or nothing. It's a natural tendency because it is a biological tendency for humanity to have that going on. We evolved, one would argue, to do all or nothings, because when you're in a wilderness situation, usually the all in means some kind of safety. But if you don't take some risks once in a while, you need people who are wild cards who take the risks. But people don't. Okay, let's put it this way. You see a shadow in a bush that looks like a bear. Do you wait around to find out? Or do you go all in on running away? You go all in. You see a berry, you're a little suspicious if it's safe to eat because you've never seen a berry like this before. Do you go all in and have it, or all in and don't? Or do you nibble half of it? Now, obviously the smarter thing to do from a wilderness survival perspective is you sample like a teeny piece and see if it makes you sick. But most of the time you don't go, let me sample everything here. We go, that's a good tree. We have, it's biologically preferable for humanity to do binaries.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem with
I'm sorry, you finish up.
All I was going to say is this is the problem with everything from politics to religion to genders to everything else. It's like the morality in particular. Stop. Breathe.
There's a podcast I follow with these two guys. It's Adventures of Woo Woo, for those of you curious. Not 100% an endorsement, but I do enjoy them. Where one of the guys on there was talking about how when he finds new books or new paths or whatever, he is more of the type, and I'm paraphrasing here, he's more of the type to like, oh, this is going to be the answer, this is going to be everything, and then he finds one flaw and just there's a crisis of like, oh no, this means it's all shit. Whereas the other guy was more of the persuasion of finding a new thing and just immediately fucking ripping the sink out of the goddamn fixture and swinging it around like a battle hammer, like, no, fuck, all of this is fucking bullshit and stupid, and breaking down everything. Is like, oh wow, no, these that wall is actually pretty sturdy, that holds up pretty well. Yeah, okay, I like that wall. Everything else is fucking bullshit, but that wall is good. And I
listen,
I do have to admit, I have a little bit more of the former approach at times, but I love the latter approach. The latter approach is good because it's never going to be perfect.
The truth that can be spoken isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
And so any adherence to a dogma of ideals, not ideas, but ideals, is doomed. It's never going to pass the smell test. It's never going to get there. And so think of it, if we're talking about the Ronin angle one more time, then I think we should do like live calls or something.
Yep. Live calls going up now.
The Ronin specifically, they also have no purpose. And to the Western mind, that's horrible.
Ooh, they have no purpose in the cultural idea of political machinations. Let's see how many other big words I can throw in there. They are not purposeless. Their own self-defined purpose is what matters.
Does nature have a purpose?
It is.
Nature is. That's all you can say about it. You can't say it has a purpose. And are you anything but nature? Thank you, Dia Phoenix. Yes, the Tao that can be described is not the Tao. I think you coughed in just the right way to destroy your audio.
I coughed just before I could mute my mic.
Oh, okay. So my point that I'm getting at is the Ronin has no purpose anymore. And to a civil society or a left-brain society, say, you know, as opposed to the left-hand society, the left-brain society, the Western intellectual materialistic brain says purposelessness is horrible. I don't want to be like that. That's no fun. I want to have a purpose. Without purpose, I throw things out. When something loses purpose, I get rid of it. It's trash. And Dia Phoenix catching the Taoist angle very, very quickly. To a Taoist, purposelessness is the ideal. That doesn't mean that it's... People still get this fucked up. They'll be like, oh, so that means it's better to have no purpose, so I got to do nothing? You know, they misunderstand the principle of Wu Wei. Wu Wei means you don't force things. And they'll think that that means that you're not supposed to try to do anything. And they'll become bums or some shit. No, that's not it either. You can't do nothing on purpose, fool. It's just the act of doing nothing, you've just done something.
Deciding not to make a choice is still a choice.
Yes, CJ Anger, which hand is associated with the left brain? Left-hand spirituality or right brain thinking? Which is kind of weird for a righty, I guess. But yeah, Wu Wei does not mean do nothing. It doesn't mean that you intentionally become purposelessness. You're already purposeless. You silly creature. The Ronin is divine in that way.
Because if I'm being really, really honest, I feel like that sense of that truth of being purposelessness. Why? Oh my! What the fuck? Purposelessness. Yeah, I got that right. Right? Being without
Something like that.
Being without purpose. English. Thank you. Being without purpose. Traveling on your own, not having, somebody else saying, yeah, you're doing it right, champ. Good job. Pat on the back. That's fucking scary when you're relying on yourself. That's fucking scary. And normally the truth is hidden in what is scary. And
yes,
no judgment for the people who go for a more right-hand path thing. I get it because it is fucking scary. This path, but it's valuable.
I mean, fear. If you're feeling fear you're
is
probably
defined
definitely
killer.
looking in the right place. Yeah, you're probably looking in the right place to start with, for sure. That doesn't mean you go stare down a dark alley with the barrel of a gun in your face. Right? That's not what we're saying. We're saying if challenging your not even a brain fart. I don't even want to say it. Fuck you. Figure it out for yourself.
All right. Well, hey, real quick, I got to step away to use the bathroom. Our guy, my boy, CJ Anger, with the super chat, asks any tie-ins with the Ronin and Belial, the one without a master.
I don't know. I've
got 2 callers lined up after this. Just to let you know.
Okay, cool. Okay, as soon as we answer this question the rest of the way, and you take your tinkle or whatever it is you're going to go do,
I'll be right back.
I'm going to answer this question. When you're done, we'll take that. So, Belial, however you want to say his name, a lot is said about these things. And the only tie-in would be what you said. I know of no direct tie-in, for sure. The same vein is true. But remember the meaning of the word Belial is worthlessness. People without worth. It almost sounds like the pointlessness that I'm talking about, doesn't it? But I'm pretty sure that's not how it was meant. I think it's ironic, but I don't think it was meant that way. I think Belial was once the equivalent of calling someone a bastard or a heathen or something like that. The fact that it's got Bel in it, to me, strikes me as meaningful. Especially considering, at least during the period of time when the word was mostly used as a pejorative about somebody, was during the period of time that, or at least it originated anyway, during the period of time when the Jews were still part of the Canaan culture. So I'd need to have maybe a rabbi come on and give me some better conversation about this, because I don't know. But it probably is a pejorative that has something to do with people worshiping Baal. Bel. Baal, Hadad, Bel. Maybe. I don't know. That's just my intuition. But Belial is definitely of the Ronin vibe, though. I would say that my experiences with him are definitely of a Ronin vibe. That's not wrong. If I had to say, for sure. Yeah. Flushy, you're back.
I am.
With a T, apparently. All right, cool.
Something I thought about as I stepped away, because I've been listening to I still have yet to read Dune, but the Last Podcast Network has been doing a thing where they kind of riff on and do a general overview of the books of Dune. And a lot of shit that they were describing later on, like in the 3rd book and shit, it's like, oh fuck, this has a lot of parallels to some of the shit that we talk about. Holy fuck. Okay, we should do a fucking podcast on Dune after I read it. So like with my fucking reading list in like 20 years time, when we're both fucking gray on the head and shit, we should return to that just as a long-term post-it note there.
You know what made me shit every inch of my pants the other day? I was, as I write, I'm always thinking, how many words do I need to like call this a done book or something? That pops up from time to time. Not that that's how I work, but sometimes I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel like I'm ready. How many words does it have? Oh, okay, that's almost novel length already. I could probably release, like it's a small novel. I could probably release this with just a little bit more touch up, Well, I don't feel like it's done, so I got to do more, okay. But at least I feel like I've reached a level where it's like, okay, it's mostly done. So I like to compare things to Dune, right? Dune is a pretty long book. Dune it's up there. I think Shogun's longer, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's definitely a thicker book. So Dune has 188,000 words to it. Do you know how long Become the Maelstrom is?
Well, okay, so to be fair, I think Become the Maelstrom, wasn't that, I think that's like 180 pages, if I remember correctly, but it's also thick, like it's a relatively fine font, and it's also like double columned, so it's a little bit of an interesting comparison.
It's just under, I think it's either 157 or 159,000 words. So basically less than 30,000 words or around 30,000 words, I would have written Dune. I had no idea I wrote that damn much in that first book. I felt like it was too short. I felt like, fuck, I could keep going, but I don't want to. Not because I know so much. It's just, I feel like I could fill in a lot more holes, but I'm just going to leave it. Yeah, that's scary to me that I wrote, like, people would call that a long novel. If I were to release that, that would be not just because like a full-length novel is around 90,000 words. A smaller novel's around Shadownomicon's size, 50, 60,000 words. So I'm like, holy shit, I've basically written 2 novels already, 2 novel equivalent, and then a novella with the Vampire's Handbook. It's crazy to me, and I still feel like I've only just gotten started. I mean, that's not a braggery. It's kind of mind blowing because Dune's so big and it contains so much in it. And there's how many Dunes? Like 9, and Herbert wrote 6 of them or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I want to say there's 9 and he wrote 7 of them. But then there's also like prequels and this bullshit. It's fucking redonk. Yes.
It's basically Lord of the Rings for sci-fi nerds is basically what
It's also interesting because it's not really it's not what we think of when we think sci-fi, because none of it's really machines.
Right. If it's actually about human evolution and spiritual evolution, and that's why I love it. It's very much it does away with the singularity from the materialist perspective and embraces the singularity of the spiritual side. And they wouldn't call it spiritual, he'd call it psychological. Remember, back once upon a time, there was no difference. They were considered basically the same thing. And they kind of still are. Thank you, Eddie. He said that Frank wrote 7. So, yeah.
I was right. I am evolving in my Doom knowledge. Doom, what the fuck?
I think his son, Brian wrote 6 prequels, and that, So, fuck it. I kind of felt like stopping. One's enough, right? Dune's pretty impressive by itself. The second one is really intense. Like, I already know the cliff notes of it, which is sad because I should have read it all the way first. But it's pretty fucking crazy. Don't find out what happens to that first. Like, if you haven't at least watched the first movie, don't read the second book because it'll fuck your head up. Yeah.
Oh, and then the third one, once again, just listening to the spark notes basically by a couple yucks on a podcast. The second one gets so the first Dune is kind of like fucking Star Wars without all the tech. And then it takes a fucking left turn at book 2, and then you think, okay, this got weird. And then it fucking takes a quadrilateral fucking 5th dimension left turn in the third book. Like, what the fuck is even going on?
I think if I had Bill Gates' money, instead of buying all the farms and vaccines and shit, I would go down to Jodorowsky's house and I'd be like, here's a blank check, make the movie. I want to see Jodorowsky's take on it. I really do. I want to see that take. If it sucks, oh well. I feel like the only person in the world who has a right to try is him. With a full budget. I mean, I want blockbuster special effects. In fact, I like the special effects in the movie. I know that the guy who made the movie said it was horrible because it didn't treat the film with the same dignity it should have. But I love the costumes and the visual themes of the movie. Like, were fantastic. When I read Dune, I'm seeing the movie. I don't care what anybody says. I see the movie. But I want to see Jodorowsky's take on it. I really do. More than I want to see pretty much anything I can think of. I would be like, here, I have $7 billion. How many of my billions do you need?
Oh, fuck. Okay, so before... oh, Victorious, we're not going to get too into it. But
we're not going to do it this stream, I promise.
Yeah,
we're going to do phone calls right now. We will announce a Dune stream.
Oh, good, I'm not the only
one. Come on. Work. A
yeah,
Dune stream.
Okay, so... this is going to be a little bit of Speak of the Devil, but we do have the first caller up. Do you want to get them on?
Fuck yeah.
All right, cool.
Do they have video? Should I blank them out, or should I give them video?
Yes, they do have video. They have...
All right, I'll put them over the pentagram, because that's where they belong.
In fact, they have... they were actually one of the first guests that were on since I came around on the stream.
Well, then we can't have them on. Get them off. I don't want them now.
Hello.
I know that voice. What's up, Jen?
Good welcome to the great and powerful Jen Vatsa.
Hello.
I am wearing her
clothing
for shit right now.
This.
You put on clothing?
I'm not wearing pants, so.
Well, that's fine. I never wear pants. They're actually trousers.
Neither am I. It's okay.
I wear the outer pants, not the inner ones. No.
Chat, do you want to know a secret? I'm naked under these clothes. That's what kind of podcast we run. Podcast live stream. Fuck.
Nice.
You know, I'm not naked under these clothes. How did I pull that off? What the fuck?
Yeah, so I missed the beginning of the stream because I was taking an intuitive tarot class that wrapped up around the same time. Then I was like, you know what I need? I need a bath. So...
I take it wasn't that much fun? Are you saying it wasn't that much fun?
Fun.
You needed
I've
to
just
bathe?
been really
okay.
As I mentioned in the chat earlier, really agitated and stressed out lately and murder the world kind of way.
I'm not going to lie, I felt that a little bit recently. Like, just, I don't know if it's because, like, I get video game brain when I play the same video game too much. Like, I've been playing World of Warcraft, like, way too much. And I just feel like everything is just too slow. Like, I'm like, can I just hit one and just make it happen? But I don't think that's all of it. I think, I don't know. I don't want to blame it. I'm not even blaming it, but I don't want to say it's Pluto return time. I mean, not Pluto, excuse me. Pluto,
there is some planetary
retrograde
influence and stuff like that that's been going on for the fuckery of April 2021, but
there's always fuckery, isn't there?
Oh, it's been especially fuckety.
All of that shit is just so far out of my ballpark that I don't even
heard
pay
any
attention.
gunshots tonight.
Yay! Let's take a shot. Well, we can play the West Philly drinking game.
Storms all night and it's been raining.
Oh, okay.
I guess
we could do
got
the West Philly
and don't want to get wet when they're shooting people. The whole thing.
They don't want to see the blood run. No, we should do the West Philly drinking game. Whenever Jen's on, every time you hear a bang, you take a shot.
Yeah.
Every time you hear a shot, you take a shot.
Yeah.
For real. Well, not only that, but we had the reemergence of a community pedophile and predator just reemerge on social media just the other day, which that's irritating, but it happens. So.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with some about unrelated earlier. Sorry, my cat Corey has to say hello because I'm on a video.
What's up, Corey?
So Corey needs to make an appearance because everyone needs to tell Corey how he's such a good kitty and he's the best kitty and everyone loves him.
I'm glad you stepped in when you did because we were about to see cat asshole on stream.
Oh, it'll probably happen. But I was talking to someone earlier.
There it is.
Not about the cat butthole. Not about this particular issue, but like other ones, especially when it comes to people who are
different buttholes.
Yeah, abusers, trolls, but people who take it, like, shit talk on forums all you want. I don't care. Mm-hmm. But, like, there's always boundaries that are crossed. And a lot of it with these things is that people are not held accountable. And there's no consequences. So they keep doing the same shit over and over and over again.
I mean, I'd be afraid of a world, at least if we're talking about I mean, I might be talking about something slightly different. I don't mean that there should be no consequences for certain things, but I think that, you know, one of my pet peeves is there's definitely elements in the left-hand community that there are, you know, they're shady, they take advantage of clients, mm-hmm. they're just grubbers and all this shit. And I hate that, but I don't think the answer is to, you know, what are we going to do? Form a guild of people who say, I don't think it's
in that case, not so much. But I mean, people who violate boundaries in a way that mm-hmm. makes people feel unsafe in, like, their own homes.
Sure.
Like, I mean,
for sure.
For someone who lives alone, I've since last summer, I've, like, gone through, like, I have a PO box now. I have a Google Voice number. I've unlisted unlisted my home address and my personal phone number. Because, hey, one time I posted a video and someone texted me a response to it on my personal phone number.
Fuck, man. This is why people are like, why do you have DH Thorne? What's your real name? I'm like, my real name is middle finger up your ass, suck my dick. I'm never going to tell you.
And, mm-hmm. you know, I've recently gone into, you know, I did the whole thing of unlisting from the thing, and I've also gone through, there are services, there's websites that offer services to remove, like, if someone does a background check on you, like if you own, you know, if you have property or rentals and stuff like that, your name's tied to an address. And sometimes, they can pull up stuff where you lived 20 years ago on there.
True, yeah.
But
I've heard of that. I had a friend who was a private eye.
Having my stuff removed from that as well. Because a lot of it comes down to protecting yourself, not only, you know, magically protecting, but also physically and legally protecting. And I'm talking about the extreme cases in which there are boundaries that are violated in a way that really crosses a line. I mean, talk shit on Facebook, I don't give a fuck. Threaten to curse me, I don't give a fuck. But I don't also want you at my front door.
Right, yeah. That's so much worse. Well, that's the epitome of doxing. You know how I feel about all that shit. Doxing, cancel culture, all that bullshit. Yeah. You know, I want to go back to the bad old days of the internet where you didn't have to tell anybody your real name. If you did, you were dumb.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go back to the old days where everybody had 15 different accounts and mm-hmm. and we would just troll the shit out of each other. It was much better that way.
Too. I mean, how would you feel if someone posted on the forum a picture of your front door of your house?
I would find out where they live and I would make things happen to them.
Exactly. I've had that happen to friends of mine.
Right. You know, I mean, I would if I were able to find out.
You know, if you're a woman who lives alone, you know,
yeah, I don't blame you.
And maybe doesn't own a firearm or whatever.
Don't say that. You own 10, don't you?
Yes.
One for each finger.
Absolutely.
Come here, Spider.
I own some more stuff now because Mama went shopping this week.
We got a spider trying to climb into the video here, but I lost him.
And yeah, this is also a practical tip from Fleshy to all of you. Wipe your metadata. Whatever you're putting out there, guess what? It has fingerprints. Fucking wipe that shit.
Yeah, and if you're gonna be stupid and like keep doing the same shit over and over again, like maybe switch up, you know, your MO and the types of things you do, because it's like, oh hey, you did X, Y, and Z to this person, and oh you did X, Y, and Z to that person? Huh, I bet you it was the same
person
that
long.
did X, Y, and Z to both those people.
How did I know Eddie was gonna be a 40 Smith & Wesson? Come on, take a 10mm like a man. What the hell?
I'm apparently not enough of a gun nut to realize you could tell a lot about a person by the fucking firearm.
You can.
Well, these are my firearms.
See, I'm
you know, more importantly,
I'm technically a niner.
Community level is the neighborhood I live in. The crime has gone up exponentially. Like, you know, I'm like, hey, there's been no gunshots tonight. I'm like, literally, there's been no gunshots tonight. It's been quiet.
That's not maybe where you want to like. Yeah, that's not. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You know, we could move into the suburbs of Philly somewhere, Jen. Me and you, we'll move out, then we can just work in the city. That way, it's a little bit better.
But, I'm kind of done with city living. I mean, to be honest, like after being stuck at home for the better part of like over a year now, I'm sick of looking at ugly ass row homes. Philly is dirty as fuck, and the people here are rude as fuck.
I agree with you. I mean, you know, there's a part of me that I love visiting cities. I love spending time in cities. I love especially dirty, rundown dive cities. Like I don't mind it up to a point. Well, there's parts of like I love the old quarter is like I could walk around there.
There are
like
nice parts of Philly. I mean, I've literally spent half my life here, but you know, it's changed a lot in the past year. The dynamics of the city have changed in the past year, and you know, I can see the writing on the wall with the way, you know, the big picture is going with things, and I'm getting out.
Yeah,
because,
I don't blame you.
You know, we're however many, you know, with, you know, the Chauvin, you know, verdict thing coming. I mean, like, they should have, like, I couldn't get out of my neighborhood. It took me 45 minutes to go, like, 5 blocks because they had just blocked everything off in case of
people are going crazy
and rioting days before
people are going crazy. People are going crazy, and it's not going to stop until something goes bad. You know, we're not there yet, but we are reaching a critical mass point where soon, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know which side's going to pop off first, and I don't care.
Yeah.
But unless, hopefully, or maybe they're doing this on purpose, the rhetoric is being gauged so that we are as divisive and upset with each other as we can possibly be. Just like whenever they try to take over a company, they try to undermine the staff and everything else so that they can take it over.
Warfare.
It is. It's all psychological warfare. Yeah, they don't want anybody to think straight.
They're going to make you as miserable as you can, so you leave. So you quit.
And worse than that,
we don't have to give you, you know, severance pay or unemployment or anything.
They want us to dehumanize one another. They want us to dehumanize one another. You know, you and I famously disagree on some key issues, but we agree on the important ones, I think, right? And we don't dehumanize each other.
I annoy my liberal lefty friends just as much as I annoy my conservative libertarian ones.
I'm the same way because I'm not a conservative, by the way. Yeah. I'm not a conservative. I'm actually liberal on everything social, conservative on economics. That's all. Yeah. Like I'm like, yeah, get your abortions. You do it all. Get 20 of them. I don't really give a fuck. There's too many anyway. Everybody's depopulate the whole earth.
Yeah, I'm like, no team global depopulation. Woo, Agenda 21.
This is probably a bad time to jump in with this, but I'm going to do it before it gets too late. Tatum with the super chat says, "Here's to the magic in the butt."
Tatum, the queen of the class. We missed you the last couple times. I hope everything's okay. You said you were okay, but we missed you the last 2 classes, Tatum. So hopefully we see you this week.
Coda says, "The butt plug of truth shall loosen your hold on your prana."
You got to guard your loosh, bro. Guard your loosh.
Where would we be for butt stuff?
If not for butt stuff, we would probably have more of us, actually. But that's, you know, probably a good thing then,
me and my kind are fighting against global population.
17-year-long butt stuff joke.
I heard both of you, and both of you were funny. I wish there was a way to like
laughter.
It was like I'm laughing at both at this. I'm like, like if I'm looking down in different directions, I'm trying to catch both conversations. That was pretty good. So thank you, Fleshy, for helping save the future for us. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Look, I mean, I live on Long Island. That's no secret. I don't mind telling you that. If someone has the wherewithal to find me on Long Island, then you've earned the 12 gauge celebration party you're going to get. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. I'm like, how would you like a stun gun to the balls? I hear it's electrifying.
No, you got to talk a bigger game. You got to be like, no, not only do I have a gun, but I have like, I don't know, name something double scary. Like, it just be like, it's a double barreled whatever it is, you know, make it extra good. But no, for real. I mean,
I got pigs in the backyard, and Hannibal Lecter trained them.
I'll just
When they're
start
hungry.
like lassoing anal beads and nunchucking them at them.
that's more like it, right?
But I'll
Yeah, be
cut
like,
them in
look,
chocolate first, so
like I'm not gonna kill you. You're either gonna have the best time of your life
So-
or the worst.
Yeah, so like not to be a creep or anything, but where do you live? Because now I kind of feel like I want to show up.
Oh, you're welcome anytime, Fleshy. Welcome anytime.
I'm having some issues aligning my magic here.
I like slug. Who loves orange soda? I'm a slug man myself. Double O buckshot is great, but I like slugs personally.
You
That's
know,
my
it's
thing.
funny.
I like that.
It's the butt stuff jokes. Like, this goes back like a really long time, but like amongst my friends group, this was like when we all met like 20 some years ago. There was, what was that, like the Newlywed Game? And this was like back in like maybe the 70s or something, in 80s. And the question was, what's the most unusual place you'd ever have sex? And the guy was always like, well, that would be in the butt, Bob. So that was usually our standard response. We're like, yeah,
Hey.
that would be in the butt, Bob. Where is that? Yeah, that would be in the butt, Bob.
That once upon a time that was illegal in many states
Yeah,
as well. Don't
yeah.
forget.
Oh yeah, look at Crowley and the sodomizing laws.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm so sorry for people super chatting, but you probably know what to expect. There's no during these conversations. There's no good segue. So, transitioning from butt stuff, Jay Sauber sends a super chat. Thank you very much, my dude, and horns up to you.
We should change it to super chats in the butt. That's what we should do. Super chats in the butt.
The
Super
train
butts.
agrees. Super butts. Gotta get that peach.
Super butts. Yeah, super butts.
So
Yeah,
back
make
to
it- make the peach emoji.
non-related things. I'm good at doing the segue.
Diddly-doo, diddly-doo, diddly-doo.
Most excellent.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I wanted to hit on is that the dehumanization campaign for people who have differences of opinion these days is like off the hook.
Yeah,
And
you know,
it's
and I see
it's
it
infectious.
coming from all sides, and you know, it's like I get just annoyed with all of them at some point. I'm like, you know what? It's like everyone's trying to one up each other in something. I'm like, what are you trying to prove here?
Hmm. I'm hoping that this will hit a crescendo where people, you know, will the brinksmanship and dehumanization will eventually reach a point where the people who are rational will be like, okay, enough. Just stop now. Stop.
Yeah, that's kind of
We've
where
had
I've
enough.
gotten to with it. I'm like, okay, these are nice ideas and stuff, but they're also never gonna work.
And they're a lot of stuff on both sides are very childish,
Mhm.
very immature. It's too naive and idealistic. Look, I had a friend who I got mad because this guy, like, you know, he talked this big game about being inclusive and open and shit, and then his wall was nothing but like generalizations about people who he disagrees with
Yeah.
that were really rancid and rotten. And I'm going to say, truthfully, I used to do that about the opposition a lot.
Mhm.
We're talking 8 years ago. Like
Right.
8 years ago I did
And the
that.
thing is, like,
Like-
people change and evolve. What you have to be wary of are the people who never change and never evolve. It's
Right,
literally going
right.
to always be same shit, different day.
Right. Very true. Yeah. Nope.
Oh, I
Not
already
now.
know. I know.
Well, that's the 1 hour warning, I guess.
Yeah.
So, well, Jen, how's everything going?
So, since I'm here for the Buy Our Crap segment, do you have anything new coming out on Etsy?
Just my crystals that are already out.
Hold on, I'll
Just
be
my
right back.
crystals
Cool.
that Elena helped make. She, you know, I created the design. She made them.
Nice.
These are really, you know, I got two kinds right now. Only one sold, but they're kind of pricey because they're real crystal and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
custom. So, but I'm not afraid. You know, I love them. I think they're great. One person got them. He loves it.
Yeah, I
But
like the
Etsy
black
is kind
mirror
of
that I
dead for
got,
us.
The triangle.
Did you? I'm so glad. I love the pictures you took of it. I mean, it's kind of dead on Etsy for me right now because my wife handles most of that stuff. I am definitely lazy about creation. I like to
Etsy
create
takes
when
a
I am
little
in the
while
mood.
to get, like my first year on Etsy, like, or actually The first year and a half. I mean, it was kind of like you build, and then it's like I made so much on Etsy last year. They sent me a W-2.
God.
So there's like a certain threshold at which
That's
they're
a good
like,
thing.
You get a W-2 form now for your taxes.
Yes, it's 20,000 or 200 transactions. Yeah, and the same thing for PayPal. You know what's nice about that is I spread myself out over so many different things. Is that I so far don't have to worry about that. So the only one I worry about is Amazon and Google because they report everything.
Yeah.
But
Amazon, I'm actually working on deplatforming from Amazon by the end of the year.
Good luck.
Preach, girl. Preach.
They grew so much that it's like pretty soon, I don't know where else.
Honestly, Amazon is just becoming another outlet for cheap crap made in China.
Oh, that's true. You mean for stuff making? The only, but for books, I can't think of anything I could use
books,
alternatively.
Yeah. I mean,
like Lulu exists, but Lulu exists.
Gone now. Like what I do instead of ordering books on Amazon is I will order them from my local independent bookstore or directly from the publisher.
Amazon still makes the dime,
but order a copy of Shadownomicon from my local bookstore.
That's fine. I mean, I don't get as much for it, but it's still that's good for my numbers when it shows that.
From a bookstore that you do from Amazon, because Amazon takes like a huge cut of everything.
They take a decent chunk, but what happens is, so they don't treat that as a sale because they've got to give the retailer a smaller whatever, so they make a buck off of it. So I get, if I got like $12 from getting it straight, it might be $8 from a bookstore and that kind of thing. It's not offensively bad. I'm actually really happy to get it. So I don't mind because it's also nice because at the end of the month they call it, I don't know what it's called, but something distribution. And it shows a big red bar of all my, and I'm like, oh wow. So I want to know what bookstore bought my book, like what bookstore bought it. And I wonder how many of it's special orders like yours and how many are, they had it on the shelf. Someday, I can't wait to walk into a bookstore and see one of my books sitting there. I wonder if I'll ever get that experience. Like,
I mean,
I've already had
take recommendations from their loyal customers.
Thank you. I've tried to go to new age shops, even more open-minded ones, and like show them, and I know it's never going to appear on their shelves because it's like they look. The people who generally go to these stores don't want to buy what I'm selling. They want to buy
I've at my local like occult shop on South Street, like I've seen like some black magic books there. I'm like, yeah, they've got your like baby witch stuff and like your mainstream traditional things, but I've seen like
but you're in a city.
Black magic.
You're in a city though. I actually expect mine to maybe sell a few there.
Yeah.
But where I am, even though it's really populated, it's all. This is going to sound bad, but I call them yoga pants witches. I mean, it's all that kind of stuff. It's all crystal rubbers. And I love my crystals. Don't get me wrong, but it's all like the very basic, love and light. Oh, I smudge my house, so I'm a witch now.
Yeah.
Type of like, and I'm not dissing that. I'm just saying that mentality that flies around. And they don't buy books like mine. They want to buy like 15 things about your zodiac sign and just like really. Like feel good stuff. They don't want to buy like how to really pursue this.
This is being really reductive right now, but what your zodiac sign says about your Starbucks order.
Boston Magic. I'm sorry.
Starbucks coffee tastes like it was burnt.
Boston Magic. I can tell you're from the area, I guess. Salem, I got no love for. I've been to Salem and I was let down by that. It was like it just felt like they didn't take care of it. It's more the tourist aspect of it kills it.
Fictionalized history in a sense, because it's even like that in places in Europe. When you go to Stratford, the home of Shakespeare, it's like they basically just picked a place. It's like, oh, this was Anne Hathaway's house, and this is where Shakespeare took a shit that one time when he was drunk and whatnot. That's their typical tour.
It's all about the myth.
Threw darts on the map and called it history.
It's scattered around this city that's not pretty. This is my fault because I wasn't educated on it. When I hear Salem, I think of like this sleepy, Victorian or whatever kind of town with like, just cool architecture and old buildings and museums and whatever else around it. But it's basically like where I live without that, because where I live actually has that. My town is more like what I think Salem should look like.
Yeah.
And it's depressing. I go there and it's like, it's just alleyways with, buy our crystals here, and the
because it's Salem,
there's like seven.
They're special.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's so much more magical because it's Salem. I'm like, why? They weren't even practicing witches there. You had an African woman who yes, practiced her practices, and they conflated it to this whole thing. It's a cool story.
What was it? The ergot poisoning, which ergot grows like from. It's like a fungus that grows on different
on weed or
grains.
something like that. Yeah, I was gonna say like weed or something.
Pants.
Yes. So they literally, I think it makes you drunk, I think is what it does. But yeah, it's something like that. It's crazy. So I don't know. Salem to me is like, it's 90% hype.
I'm like,
you're cool.
gunshots
I think Salem's not. I could be.
I think it's fireworks.
we have a ring system, and whenever I look at that,
gunshots.
I see somebody's always complaining, oh, there was loud booms. I'm like, we live on Long Island where fireworks are like water on this time of year.
Yeah,
like, just relax.
The problem is, like, when you live in a city like Philadelphia and people blow up street fireworks, like full fireworks, there's nothing to absorb the sound.
It just echoes really loud,
Yes.
I bet. Yeah.
Especially when they're throwing M80s and flashbangs and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, Jen, now that we did that, what's your buy our crap section of the night? What do you have? Any new buy our craps?
I went away for a special little thing. For those of you who don't know, the great and powerful Jen Vatsa runs Belladonna's Botanicals, and I can personally attest to her good shit. I wear these every
Nice.
day. And they
Every day?
every
day?
They got the fucking creepy coworker smell of approval. Just like, what is that? That smells good.
The creepy
let
coworker.
me help you,
smell of
little
approval.
boy. Yeah.
Oh my god! I wish I wasn't such a slob. Did I put it in the top drawer or the bottom? I got Jen's stuff here too. Where is it? I just used it the other day.
Jen stuff. Yeah, I do. It's just like all the way over there.
Jen has Jen stuff. Jen stuff is just a la carte where you are.
Yeah.
Stored in like 100.
Yeah, I have a bunch of flying. Where did I go? There I am.
I must have it in the back.
I don't have them up here. Well, I can show you a crystal as an example. But one of the things I'm going to be releasing, hopefully sometime this week, is I've been using the radionics box to sigil charge various crystals with that particular energy.
I must have it.
I've sent a few out as testers to people to see, like, what they think of them and stuff. The feedback's been really good. So, because with the collaboration I did with Goetic Impressions for like the Demon Collection boxes, I was including the crystals in that. A couple people were like, I want the crystals. Because, it's like, okay, do you want to pay like $150 for an entire box, or do you want to pay like $20 for a crystal,
I get that, because I was actually, I'm still thinking about putting this together. It's just I don't have the time or the energy to like just source all of these little knickabrack and put it together and put it out. I think that's waiting for when I'm a bigger entity and I can just like hire people to do stuff, because
I've gotten onto the hiring people to do stuff. I have 3 assistants now in various
good for you.
places.
Good
yeah,
for
I have
you.
I have
That's
2 friends
great.
that come over and help me like, package and bottle stuff and make things and pack orders and things like that. And the Serial Crabot's been doing a bunch of my like video editing and graphic design and talking to customers and stuff like that. Because
Look, you're employing people. Yeah, you're employing people, and that makes you a productive, beautiful member of society. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that stuff. I'm looking forward to that day for me, but it's going to be a while, because let's be honest. Like, I am not.
Staff.
I mean, I guess like you get paid when I make enough. It's like, and I had to force that down your throat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, hey. Actually, yeah, it would, but hey. But no, for real. So, it is something like people see me like doing the buy our crap segment, and there's a reason I do it so irreverently and tongue in cheek, because it's not, this is my living, but I'm really bad at it. Like, I'm not, like, I'm really bad at it. Like, there's so much that I should be doing. to make money if that's what I was doing this for.
It's like I barely do any advertising because I don't feel like it actually does much of anything. Like I'm running some like Facebook and Instagram ads for the demon boxes, and like I'm not seeing any movement from it. But like, you know, sure, I post shit to my social media. Well, the serial posts shit to my social media stuff now for me. You know, and but yeah, I don't do a lot of advertising.
Yeah. I mean, I've tossed around the idea of doing like starting like a magic house and all this other stuff, you know, where people can, you know, find it all under one roof. But my problem is I worked in one of those and I found it to be really stifling. Not that it was stifling, but the whole idea that someone should get paid for not having to do anything to do with the work that I was doing. And they weren't, you know, and then they still expected me to be the one to advertise and me to be, it's nonsense. And then it's also like, I don't even feel like that's the right way to do things, you know? So like, you know, I wouldn't want to do that. But if I were to do something like that, I like products or legit services. Like I want to do services where like, if you want a consult, you want training, you want to, you know, just an hour with DH Thorne, that
I'm fine with my cat
that.
Corey because he's like the best kitty ever.
Cat buttholes,
yes.
Right? So I mean,
weekends.
you know, I want people to get a thing or a memory, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I insist, like, if I do a ritual for you, you're getting a video. Like, I've only once not done, or maybe twice, not done a video. And one of the people I didn't do the video for is actually one of the people who's very regularly contributing, and I want to thank him specially. That's like one of the only times, because I don't like doing it that way. For all someone knows, you are scamming them.
Yeah,
when you don't give them a video, even if it's a shitty video.
The kind of ritual you're doing, I think, like, for some of the stuff I do, because I do a lot of jar work, I don't actually have it listed on my website yet, because it's on the great list of things to do, but I do some, like, off the website, like, jar spell stuff for different clients and things like that. But, you know, putting together a jar spell and burning a candle or something isn't going to make a very thrilling video. I mean, it can, yeah,
but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
And you know, maybe eventually.
That depends on your showmanship skills. That's not your magic skills, though, right? So,
I mean, I'll send
you know, you can definitely
and stuff and like, you know, detailed updates and things like that, or, you know, if you're doing anything kind of, you know, channeling or divination. I mean, do you really want, you know, a 6-hour video of me going blah 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 blah? You know?
I did that once, and it wasn't 6 hours, but it was a long video. And this guy, I love him to death. He's the guy who turned me on to keto and helped me make this journey to being at least not as fat. And he asked me 20 questions. 10 for, or more than that. I think it was 3 spirits. I forget. It took me almost an hour and change to go through the whole thing. So it was a marathon. Like, to do 2 or 3 spirits channeling this many questions.
Multiple times or back and forth.
I did it all in one shot.
Like, okay, they said this. I have no idea what this means.
That happened to me too. Like, there was definitely one, and we still didn't figure out. We think maybe it was just a fart on my brain's part. It may not have been an actual piece of gnosis, but yeah, I marathoned that shit. And we have reports of 3 gunshots heard 0.7 miles away. There you go.
It stopped raining, so I guess people are shooting each other again.
Unless it's 50 caliber, 0.7 miles, you're fine. It's probably not going to reach you. Probably, you know. So, all right, Jen. So you have any? We're gonna shift people in a minute, but I want to make sure. Do you have any things you want to bring up? Everybody go to Jen's Etsy. Does anybody have the link? Hopefully you guys do.
I would go to belladonnasbotanicals.com because I have a lot more listed on Belladonna's Botanicals because I can't sell everything on Etsy because
that's true.
They have weird policies for certain things. Yeah, look forward to. They're called spirit stones. The ones that I'm doing with the radionics crystal charging. It's been an interesting experience because when I talked to J.S. Garrett about it, because when I first got the radionics box, I was like, well, you know, how long should I charge them? I was like, you know, the rule of thumb is I was kind of going for like 5 to 7 days. That works for some spirits. The Lilith one had to come off earlier because I'm like, okay, we've reached the burn the world to the ground energy in the house, so I think it's done.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. So okay, so definitely check out belladonnasbotanicals.com. She's awesome. She does really good products. Even if you're not into some of this stuff, you offer enough stuff that's interesting that there's got to be something.
I mean, honestly, like a lot, my best-selling stuff are like my ritual bath salts, shit like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
fancy stuff.
And it's very usable, especially like if you're into not necessarily aromatherapy, but that direction of stuff. You definitely have your bases covered there. And I still have this stuff. I still use it occasionally. I'm not as much into, some of that like Nina sent me. Well, she sent it to my wife because my wife ordered it. Like the sprays and the waters and stuff. That, to me, I'm not against it by any stretch. But that doesn't trigger anything for me. To me, that's like, it's just water to me. Like, it's
I make like smudge or energy cleansing sprays because I actually cannot stand the smell of burning sage. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one.
And if you've never burned actual real sage, if you just stick to these incense sticks, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't even like handling like sage. Like the smell of it just irritates. Like I just can't stand it. So I made like energy,
it's funky.
But also, what the thing too with like the energy clearing sprays is where they work is: do you want to be burning a bunch of sage in your car, or do you want to give it a few little spritz? Yeah. Or if you are in a college dorm room, and don't be an idiot like me, like 19-year-old Jen, who had to have the entire floor evacuated from a sage burning experience.
And,
I believe it.
And like just
so,
speaking to somebody with
I am working. I developed. They're a little different than the smudge sprays, but they're sort of a different level of protection sprays and stuff. So those are going to be coming out at some point in time at which I decant them, price them, label them, and take photos of them and put them online. So that could be anywhere between now and June.
Okay, cool. One thing I'll say, like Eddie is saying he's not a very good herbalist and stuff. One thing I'll say is you don't have to be good at it. You just have to be sincere. Like I will get like whatever herbs or whatever that I want to use in various teas or offerings. I will mortar and pestle them myself and throw them on the charcoal pucks. You don't have to be good at this. You just have to try. And adding that little extra oomph. I'll say whenever I give an offering, like let's say I want to give star anise to President Malphas, who he likes star anise a lot. What I'll do is instead of getting like some kind of licorice, because it smells like licorice, or something, incense or something, I will get the star anise and I'll crush it up in a mortar and pestle. And I'll throw it on the fire direct. And that extra step, that adds something to your ritual.
Smells amazing, by the way.
I get powdered cinnamon and I make my own incense out of it. I just stick it together. All right, Jen. So we're going to jump to call number 2 because I think I
may have another call to jump on with someone else, with a friend.
You're good. You're good. So thank you for coming on.
Have a good one.
We shall see you.
Likewise.
All right, Jen.
Always good to have
we'll call you in for movie night.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Later.
Take care, Jen.
Bye-bye.
Hail yourself.
We love Jen. Jen's a nice lady. She's like, it's fun watching movies with her because she and Eddie are like, they make the, especially Eddie knows way too much about movies. Like he'll watch a movie and be like, oh, that scene right there, that is like, that's actually not a real gun. That's his penis or something. He knows like all these like trivia things. I don't know if he cheats though. He might just have like the WebMD thing. I mean the IMDb thing open.
I love that though. I think it might just be because I'm a whore for trivia. Like I keep saying that I need to get you to watch The Room, and I do. And I'm going to try to hold it. If I can keep it to only 50% of the trivia about that fucking movie when you watch it, it will be, oh man, yeah, oh my god, I need to get you to watch The Room.
I watch a lot of things, but you haven't watched a lot of movies. I do owe you one at this point. I think I've made you watch like 10 movies now.
Yeah, like to be fair, I haven't watched a lot of the shit that you've suggested I do, but that's also because you had like a decade and a half of a head start on me with all this fucking shit.
Well, no, I mean that I drag you kicking and screaming into watching movies with me on movie nights and stuff. So,
I know. I wouldn't say kicking and screaming. I'd just say like, oh, I wouldn't.
Hopping and skipping.
I wouldn't watch this of my own accord, but since we're doing it as a group, I suppose.
Well, I don't know. You loved Conan the Barbarian. I remember you were just like with You definitely had man jiggles over that one. That was
we didn't even plan to watch Conan that night.
Yeah, I think we just watched like 5 minutes and it was like, fuck it, we're watching it.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, Desmond, you should totally see the scene, and we just pulled something up on YouTube, and it's like, fuck. Do you want to just watch Conan right now? Yes. And we just like,
it was like
all
such
other plans, fuck it, we're just watching Conan for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just Crom.
That was almost a Netflix and chill moment. It was great.
Yeah. Just Camilla just hopping in randomly, just, oh, you guys are still watching Conan? Yeah. Crom, if you don't hear my prayer, then fuck you.
Turn with you.
Yeah, no, that's
Dude, I love Conan the Barbarian. Like, I swear, like when I'm near death, when I'm like 80 years old or whatever, and it's like, oh, you got like a year to live, I'm like, look, all these movies, there should be like a list somewhere. But Conan, I want that on like once or twice a week, if not every day. I gotta watch it. It's a feel-good movie for me. It's just a feel-good movie. Bum ba bum 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 ba 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 bum ba bum bum.
Yeah, no.
So, all right.
You know, I'm gonna get this next guest on. I wanna finish ripping on this before we get them on. But it seems like one of those movies to me. Like, I used to know a guy who he would put movies on just to have in the background, just because he loved them so much. It's like, I don't even care if I follow the whole thing. I'll just tune in for certain scenes and then get back to what I'm doing.
Sometimes when I'm working, I love having a movie on in the background for sure, right? Like, there's nothing quite like that, or talk radio. Even if it's stuff I don't like, I just put it on. Like, okay, tell me about sports, I guess.
Yeah, but Conan seems like the perfect one. Just like once you get to know it enough, it seems like the perfect just have on in the background movie. You can tune in like, oh yeah, watch him cut those dudes down. Oh yeah, watch that.
It's definitely a movie for guys who like movies.
Yeah.
It's definitely like machismo over the top type of thing. Like, people be like, oh, look at the toxic masculinity. No. Look at the classical beauty of of crushing your enemies, seeing them driven before you, and hearing the lamentations of their women.
It doesn't take itself too seriously. That's what I appreciate.
I mean, it does though. That's what it is. It's like, because was it De Laurentiis did that one? He really did though. Like that one was done from such a philosophical place. It wasn't just, here, let's kill people. It looks like it. It really does. But it's another like love letter to Luciferian individualism. It's just, you know, it's in there, but it's under this it's the subtext of just chopping people apart.
Ooh.
And
you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna summon in our next caller really quick, because you mentioned Luciferian idealism. And you recently fucking talked about Riddick as a Luciferian ideal to me, and I know this guy would have some things to say about that too. Those of you who watch our show, you're going to be very familiar with our next guest. Please welcome the great and powerful Dr. Eddie.
Eduardo, do you want the video?
Sure.
All right, hold on.
I'm not wearing the pants, but...
Oh, good. You're just like the rest of us.
Why doesn't anybody wear pants around here? Like, ew.
Everybody in chat right now, if you're wearing what the fuck? If you're wearing pants, you're doing this stream wrong. Go get a sword.
I'm wearing pants.
Go get a sword. Hold a sword in your hands. Smoke. Sorry, no. Combust something. Pour yourself a glass of something and take off your pants. They're not needed. I don't care if you're on the subway right now. Take off your pants. This stream is not the type of stream to wear pants to.
I mean, I like wearing pants, but maybe it's just me. You said take out a sword, so I had to listen.
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. You see, my magic is great and powerful. Look at what it manifests. The knee.
I am really exhausted and kind of high, so let's do this.
Oh,
speak, my high apprentice.
I don't know if you had something that you wanted to call in with, but this just seemed like a great jumping off point, because like we were just talking about Luciferianism in movies, and recently DH pointed out to me, like, Riddick is totally Luciferian. Like, oh fuck yeah. This seemed like a great point to get you in on.
Yeah.
At least in an over-the-top way. Go ahead, Eddie.
Well, if you're Thulsa Doom, can I be the guy with the really cool porn stash who lived in the tower with like the slave girls and the snake?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I was. So that means that Flesh, you have to be the other guy. You have to be Thorgrim, the guy who raised the snake. You have to be him.
The guy,
You know that guy is in every Arnold movie up to a certain year.
the guy,
He's in every movie.
the guy who raids the snake. Are you talking about the companion with the bowl cut and the mustache?
No. The guy who raised it, the one who helped grow it up. You have Thorgrim, and I forget the other guy's name. So Eddie wants to be the other guy. So I want you to be the dude with the hammer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, fuck it, I'll do. Yeah. No, fuck yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
So there's the guy with the hammer. Now that guy with the hammer, he was in. Oh my God, he was in Running Man. He's in all of them. Like he's in all the movies, but you don't know it because he without the long hair. And like the way he looked back in the early 80s, he looks completely different. So if you look up the guy who played Thorgrim, he's been in like 6 or 7 or 8 of Arnold's movies, often as the bad guy or someone that he has to fight. It's hysterical. I love him. He's a great actor.
He was in Running Man?
Yeah, he was in Running
Wow.
Man. Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, as somebody who, I swear there's something with glamour magic. You know, I used to have long fucking hair. I used to be able to cover up my nipples, like with my hair. It stretched down to like mid-rib length. Yeah, I think
Oh, I can't.
it's
I
hard to
can't
see
quite.
because it's black
All
on
8 of
black,
them?
but
Yeah, but I mean, I could probably get the tip to tie around the nip. That would be about it. It wouldn't be
Okay,
enough
so-
to be.
so
Someone
I
put that
probably
hypnosis.
I probably had hair a little bit longer than yours before I just fucking shaved it all off. I knew a guy. I was talking with a guy, and then we had a falling out, and I ended up ghosting him. I fucking ran.
You killed him?
Yeah,
You killed him?
I like that. I ran into him, and he didn't know I cut my hair because I didn't advertise it or anything. So he saw me. Last he spoke to me, I had long hair. Then I just shaved off my whole fucking head. We had a face-to-face conversation, and he didn't recognize that it was me.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I believe it though, because I notice hair. Like I don't remember. I mean, I remember faces very well, but I don't. I notice like the big features more. Like when I'm noticing somebody. So it's a little tougher. Like the more people look alike, the less I remember them. Like I just don't care. Like, oh, you want to look like everybody? Okay. All right.
Eric Mystery says their hair is up to their belly button. That is... Damn.
I mean,
Like,
to each their own.
Hair?
Yeah,
Down to belly button?
I hope they're talking
Hair.
about their head hair.
Up to your belly button.
Like, or maybe I don't hope. That's a lot of...
Hey,
things,
I've seen
dude.
pictures of it, like the happy trail apparently is now coming into its own like kind of sexy thing. Like I don't know, I've seen like quite a few like people don't shave, they just make sure the happy trail is like really visible for everybody, guys, girls, everything. I don't know, it's not for me, but people do as they will, man. That's not my problem.
Oh,
What I like don't mean you don't get to like it.
oh God. Oh, Matt.
So yeah, Eddie, what do you think about Riddick and Superman? I mean Riddick and Lucifer.
Yeah. Like especially Chronicles. I haven't seen the third one, so
We were gonna do that. I made my wife watch it finally the
Hold
other
on.
night.
Are you
so.
talking about? Oh man, it gets fucking weird because so there's Pitch Black, there's Chronicles of Riddick, and then I think there's like whatever the.
There's a cartoon.
There's the cartoon
Yeah.
which takes place between two of them. It's weird.
Yeah.
That's
that
one
I
of the.
definitely haven't seen.
That's one of the few
No, the-
franchises, by the way, that actually has really good video game tie-ins. I've never played them, but
Yes.
oh my god,
They're like Thief, but in space. It's like Space Thief,
yeah,
but you get to kill people more.
Nice.
fucking
So,
legion.
no, Riddick is the third major blockbuster movie, and it's the one. It's kind of like I don't want to call it a reboot, but it's like it's self-aware that it's kind of acting like a reboot because Riddick goes back to basics instead of. He becomes, obviously, I don't want to give it, if you haven't seen Chronicles by now, you're an idiot. I mean that nicely, of course. So I'm sorry for the spoilers, but Riddick becomes basically the Lord Marshal, the king of the Necromongers. in the end of Chronicles. Well, they have to somehow get him from that place of ultimate power and deathly whatever to being a badass again. So they have to like knock him down a peg. So he basically loses that and goes to this. This is all happening in the first 10 minutes of the movie, guys. So if I'm not going to give anything more than that away.
Yeah.
He gets exiled to this planet, and it's a harsh planet, similar, not like episode 9 of Star Wars and episode 4, where it's like a scene for scene. If you watch them side by side, it's like the same movie, but it's got a lot in common with Pitch Black. Not enough to say it's the same movie, but a lot in common with Pitch Black, and it's good. It's they did it right. It was done very well. I could watch it over and over and over again, just like Chronicles. So definitely one of my favorite movies for sure. You'd like it, Reddy. I guarantee you'd like it. I'd be really surprised if you didn't.
I've seen Pitch Black once, and honestly, I was kind of meh about it. But Chronicles,
I like this better than Pitch Black.
I've seen, I don't know, 10 times. I love that movie.
I could watch Chronicles 10 times in a year, and I wouldn't say it's too much.
I think the great glory of, because I fucking love Pitch Black, but the real glory of Chronicles of Riddick is that it presents a world, and it's
great world building.
Yeah, it's brave enough to give a world and not spoon feed everything to you. It will just say like, oh yeah, there's these elementals out there, and give you just enough to understand what's happening right this very moment. Or I take that back. It will give you just a little bit less than what you essentially need to understand what's going on right now, and leave you craving like, oh shit, there's more out there. I want to know more. That's the greatest part, is there's so much more that it hints at but doesn't point to, that you want to
yeah, it's sad when you go to the wiki and like there's a lot of empty holes to like learn anything, and but there's some things on the wiki I didn't know, so I'm definitely a nerd for fucking. So we'll be playing that next week probably, Eddie, and maybe Des if you want to join us.
Yep.
So
I spent a lot of time on the wiki after we started that.
Yeah, I did, but like all wikis, I wish they just made it like a fucking diagram tree of everything in it, instead of like having to find shit by just like surfing it.
Because it's kind of a small wiki, because like you said, there's not a lot there.
That much, and it's not all connected. Like usually in wikis, things are connected, so it's like a couple times I had to go to the alphabetized part to find anything. And there's some nuggets in there too. So.
Yeah, there's some stuff in there from the novelization of Chronicles that I guess didn't make it, on the screen, with a lot of background about the previous Lord Marshals and the Underverse and what are they? The Never Dead?
The Necromorphs.
No, the Scryers.
They're oh fuck, quasi-dead? Was it? I think it was the quasi-deads, yeah.
Yeah. Where they're totally like the Warhammer 40k astropaths, but different.
See, the way I don't know what they say about them. The way I saw it was that their bodies are like suspended dead, but their souls are in Underverse, like somehow, and they're like, that's how they do what they do. I don't know if that's accurate to the book or not, but
they basically
I'll have to read it.
They said in the wiki, they basically starve themselves to the point of death, but then somehow they are frozen at that moment. So yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, the Underverse is not a place where people go when they die.
Correct. Yeah.
The Underverse is a universe without life. And the goal of the Necromongers is to correct the problem of mankind by eliminating it. So that then the Underverse can, I guess, enter the regular universe. It's like a pocket dimension. I don't know.
Right. I wasn't quite clear on whether they were trying to say that this universe is hostile to life and that one isn't, because it doesn't have any, but it needs it, and this universe has too much. I don't know. It was kind of instructions unclear, dick caught in zipper kind of thing for me, but it was still pretty cool. Like the Necromongers weren't really the highlight for me. They did make cool bad guys, and it definitely had that Warhammer, like, and I'm not a Warhammer fan, but I know Warhammer themes when I see them. It definitely has, like, Dune meets Warhammer meets, you know, Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Quality to it, which I loved. I thought it was, it's like a perfect mix of themes to me. Like, it's over the top without being ridiculous. And it's ridiculous without being absurd. And it's absurd without being stupid. You know,
it's not afraid of being a little bit cheesy and campy too. I mean, fucking Riddick is a superhero. I don't care what anybody says. Not because of any of his powers or abilities, other than the fact that he always has the perfect one-liner to be a fucking badass. That is the great. If I get,
he learned that from Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm sorry, he learned that from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, if I get one fucking superpower, I want it to be just the ability to one-liner quip about whatever fucking scenario I'm in.
Well,
I want to be brooding,
to
dark
be
and
fair,
mysterious. Just keep what you
when
kill.
we played the sci-fi game. When we played the sci-fi game, and you played that, I forget what he was, but that big old frog dude that was the pilot of the ship, and that one scene where the guy is like talking and you're just eating the noodles, and you just like, and he's like trying to, like, I think he was trying to intimidate you, and you're just like it was such a, because we just talked about how the heroes in anime are always eating ramen somewhere.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but it was legitimately just like, I don't care what you have to say. Man, I'm really trying to get at the bottom of these nudes.
Yeah, really. I don't know, Coda. We like movies. I mean, you know, movies are fun. They're fun.
Art.
Movies contain, art imitates life and life imitates art. I mean, it's,
well, beyond
the movies
that,
actually.
Art is magic.
Yeah,
Fight me.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, the movies contain these things that are little secrets in them. And like, you know, I've learned, I know this is, like, some people are like, oh, you're not a real occultist then. Not you, Coda, but I know some people are going to, like, shit on me for saying this, but you can learn more by watching the movies than you can in half the occult books you're going to buy these days. You know, there's exceptions, but it's for real.
I think in a way, too, it's more, man, maybe it's just the fucking anti-establishment or whatever. I would almost rather somebody go out and try to do a fucking ritual to, you know, speak to Batman than I would to speak to Lucifer or whatever. I would rather you be inspired by a piece of media like, oh man, oh Vin from Mistborn, Vin or Ladriel, oh they're so powerful. I want to convene with them, like, rather than...
If you want to see that in practice, look up all the people who practice literal
chaos magic.
Tamriel magic from Elder Scrolls. Like, they are out there. I have a bunch of them on my Facebook that, like, when I pop stuff up that's got some Lovecraft themes, they're like, oh look, it's what's his name, that one Lovecraftian that's basically Yog-Sothoth in Skyrim.
Fucking, you said it, so now I can't think of it. There's a word for that.
Harmonious Mora, I think it is. Is it Mora? I think it's Mora.
Mora, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for real, people practice magic from there, and then also, I mean, there's definitely people who use Dungeons and Dragons gods because they're basically, how do I put this?
They're using similar
rip-offs of real gods.
Yeah, they're using similar archetypes because I really feel like, and some people will fucking... We've talked about this before, and Infernal Star Angelos, I agree, Hellraiser is fucking sick.
Yeah, Hellraiser counts, for sure.
I love that movie.
Like, we've said this before on the stream, and, you know, send me the hate if you really feel it, but I really feel like these spirits that we're working with, look at the Goetia, I really feel like it is the fucking pop culture media of its time, so to speak.
Oh, it totally was.
Yeah, like, they're not... I love Paimon, King Paimon. I've worked with him and everything. And I'm not trying to be irreverent or anything by saying this. I'm only trying to keep it real. King Paimon is no more or less legitimate than Sithis or Haemeus Mora or the fucking I forget the god of Tolkien's universe. Like they're all equally legitimate.
So Coda says he says that I just feel movies embed other people's ideas into your own and take away from your vision. Honestly, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I could say to that. Number one, if that's a problem, the problem isn't the movies. Like if that's a problem you're having, the problem's not the movies. It's something to do with your ability to differentiate things from one another like that. If I can't watch a movie and be like, that's a useful piece of gnosis, but the rest of the movie sucks, then it's like, I don't know, that could. Now on the one hand, if you just say I don't like movies, I get it. Like I don't like whatchamacallit, fuck, I can't think of the word. When they would have, oh my god, reality TV, I can't stand reality TV. I don't like K-pop. Like is it invalid as entertainment? No, it's not for me. But to say it only becomes a danger when people jump in with both feet and adopt the dogma of the things that they watch as literal. Just like people reading the Bible. If you can't read the Bible and find gnosis of value in it, even if you have to like sometimes play with the wording a bunch, it's in there. You just have to look between. Yeah. I won't use it as a method. Like I don't recommend it until you have a pretty firm grasp. But if you have a firm enough grasp of things, if you go back to the Bible from a non-dualistic perspective, you go, oh, this makes better sense now. I get it. This makes a lot more sense than what they say is happening. So movies are like that. When I was a kid, if it wasn't for movies like Dark Crystal to inspire my love of world-building fantasy, if it wasn't for Star Trek, if it wasn't for Star Wars, I wouldn't have things that I could sort of use to inspire me to just look into those things. I didn't have, if all I had was a brick to stare at all day, who knows what I would have come up with. I might have come up with something cool, but things like those things I just mentioned being if I had to say the most influential things for me would be like Dune, Dark Crystal, Star Trek, and Star Wars. Those four things. Somewhere in there is the recipe for baby Thorne, for baby Thorne's mind. And after those four things, just following the natural progression, I became who I am. It's just the truth. And would that be a pollution of my mind? No, not at all. No more than a song is a pollution of your mind.
And this did this did bring up interesting conversation. So I don't want to seem like it's dunking on what you said, Coda, but I'm
really, not dunking either.
I really feel like on one hand you can look at it and say like the media doesn't define what we're doing, but let's be honest, a part of what we're doing too is because we like the aesthetic or whatever. Like it's fucking sexy and it's fucking fun and it's fucking groovy. Like fuck yes, I want to be that dope-ass wizard on the side of that fucking 70s Volkswagen van. Fuck yes, I want to be that dope-ass dark wizard in the tower just going,
"Ah, you shall taste fireball, He-Man!"
Like, any fantasy movie you see with a wizard and a fireball, just imagine that's happening in the astral and everyone else is going, what are they doing? And it looks like that South Park episode where Cartman's fighting the psychics going, just own that. Like when I play a game like World of Warcraft and I'm shooting fireballs and they're like, that's not really happening. I'm just going like this and they fall over because it's magic.
There is a theory from a certain extremely litigious science fiction cult that I shall not name that there is no such thing as fiction. That everything fictional is a memory from a past life or another universe.
For sure. I've heard that and I've thought that because that's basically the premise of my quantum of my idea of quantum. I'm tired, so I'm like have like a little bit of freaking Alzheimer's
completely
today.
Unrelated,
my version,
I need to do my anti-theatin spray real quick. Hold on, let me just.
Paradigm gates is basically my idea of that, and it's very similar to the idea of quantum leaping that you're talking about. Yeah,
but
like an infinite universe, it's out there.
And again, I'm not slam dunking on anybody here, but I had a thought.
A whole one or a partial one? Because I'm usually getting partial ones on nights like tonight.
So, well, it's definitely half baked, because so am I. So the idea of other people's thoughts is an interesting one, because so what are archetypes if not, our minds do not exist in isolation, right? It's not like there's some container inside which that only we exist, right? There's underneath that container, there's all this archetypal information that comes not just from us, but it comes from our families, it comes from our cultures, it comes from our religion. Some of it's hard coded into our DNA, basically. You know, and it's not that my magic. Yes, I am drawing a lot of inspiration for my magic from movies and pop culture. I mean, one of the ways I approach magic is basically as a Sith, right? The idea of stirring up the passions and using strong emotion to do things, to force the force, as it were. But maybe I think a better way of expressing sort of all those sort of different thoughts is that art, magic, science, religion, all four of those basic functions of humanity are each in their own way expressions of those archetypes. Right? So it's not that I'm trying to be a cosmic space wizard like Gandalf. It's that Gandalf and the cosmic space wizard that I'm trying to be are expressions of an archetype, which in turn is also expressed as this spirit that I...
Mm-hmm.
So from a non-dualist perspective, magic is stored in the butt.
It's still in the butt.
And so is
art.
Mean, and we pull
the important
art
thing,
and magic out of our butts.
Well, especially if you sculpt with your poop like that one dude. But for real, I mean, one of the things that I try to bring to the table is this. The uninitiated would say I'm either fence-sitting or I'm self-contradictory or something like that.
Oh man, I would categorize you as a lot of things, but fence-sitter would not be one. They obviously you don't know me.
You don't know me. Yami. But no, I mean, on the one hand, I want to be very clear. The spirits are made up. On the other hand, I want to be doubly clear. You're made up. When you understand that, you realize then they're both real in as much as they're both made up. What we expect spirits to be comes from a theistic perspective, a superstitious theistic perspective. It's not intelligent. It is, a caveman banging two rocks together and wondering why, it makes a pop sound or something. And then they go, oh, well, that's because there's little devils in it and they don't like it. It's nonsense. However, in the same way that your cells have an individual life and together they form the collective that is you, Lucifer is made up of the thoughts, ideas, emotions of us. And in the same way that you and I are made up of cells that carry out functions in which we can interact with the world, whereas if I want to pick up this crystal, what has to do it? My body has to cooperate to reach over and pick it up. And each one of those cells, none of those cells feels forced. None of those cells says, like there's somebody with a whip cracking it saying, you better do this or else. Each one of those cells in the process of picking up this crystal is serving itself at the time. It's reacting to some kind of a stimulus in its own best interest to live. Now, true, cells are mindless by our standards, but they're not dead. They have a soul, an energy, a life force, a consciousness. They respond to their environment. They may not plan intelligently, but they definitely act with intelligence of a kind. Why I'm saying this is because that is functionally no different than, one would argue, Lucifer doesn't have a body. He's non-local, but he uses your body as his eyes, ears, and hands if you will let him. Possession, channeling, even unintentional. If you think about Lucifer and you're sitting there, what would Lucifer think about this? Or you're watching, that consciousness is within you at that time. There's nothing magical about it. It can be completely psychologically valid, believe it or not, in a way. It's a collective consciousness, is what it is. And these are aspects or archetypes within it. The archetypes come first, whether the archetypes are cosmic or they're just part of human perception. They come before the spirits. The spirits are adornments worn by the archetypes. A lot of theistic people don't like this because they want gods to be real, because it invalidates their superstitious ego to think this. If there is no God, then they don't exist, because if God exists, I must exist. No, it's the other way around. And they don't like that. Nobody likes that at first. When you realize how liberating it is to recognize that what you think you are is a fiction, no different than Superman. I'm not going to do the whole rant, by the way. No different than Superman. It's the same thing for Yahweh and all of these other things. And then someone says, well, then they're just imaginary friends. So is Flesh Priest.
Yeah.
So is D.H. Thorne.
Yeah, fucking.
We're all imaginary friends.
If you don't think I'm your imaginary friend while you're watching this, then fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah,
I am
fuck
totally
you.
your.
Fuck you.
You fucking count me amongst those numbers. I am absolutely your imaginary friend. Have you ever met
like
me?
that.
You don't know me. Fuck you.
You don't know me.
I'm your
You don't
imaginary
know me.
friend.
The non-dualist, at least my perspective on non-dualism, the kind of non-dualist I am,
You see,
perspective
that's
on
valid
the
within
creation of the
non-dualism.
universe, which is, in the beginning there was one thing, the one, right, and the one wanted to look at something because it doesn't have anything to look at, so it split itself into two. And so, to use the imaginary friend, the one made an imaginary friend for itself. But which one of those is the one? They both are. And they're looking at each other. And then repeat that over and over and over again, all the way down to subatomic particles, and all the way up to the whole universe itself. And we're all different bits of the one looking at all the different other bits of the one, wondering which one is the one, when we all are, individually and as a whole. But then also think about, so Gordon White on his podcast, Ronin Soup.
Okay, I'm getting fired up. I'm getting angry.
Last week,
Is this like a Jordan Peterson thing?
last week had a
Six-hexahammer?
microbiologist turned microanimist. So one of the things that's interesting is, when we talk about animism, we talk about sort of the big things, like the planet itself is alive and the universe is alive and things like that. But we tend not to think of the small things. Viruses are alive and have consciousness. It's not like our consciousness, but they have desires. It's easier to understand how viruses work if you think of them in terms of they want to do things. And to use DH's example of his arm reaching out to pick something up, do you think any of those cells in my arm is even aware of the overall function that we're trying to do here? No, it just knows that I got a electrochemical signal, and when we get that signal, we do this thing because I want to, and so if you think about things in terms of life like that, where we are a collective life form made up of lots of little life forms called cells that are themselves made up of smaller life forms that sort of got together and cooperated to create a cell. Think about consciousness the same way, where the ego, the part of you that you think you are, the part of you that makes you you, isn't even itself one thing. It's an abstraction that's sitting on top of lots of little things that you aren't aware of, and they aren't aware of you. And those are basically the archetypes. I mean, this is exactly how Jung talked about how the human mind works, where it's a community, it's a collection. And the thing that is sitting here right now talking to you is in many ways just the speaker for this community that isn't even aware that it's speaking for this community. Did any of that make sense, or am I just
No, it made sense. I will say I'm also reading the chat too, so I seem a little distracted. But Raul Fernandez points out rightfully, and it's something I wanted to say, but I want to let you finish your point, is that everything you said is only words. It's conceptual. Like the first thing when you say you have one, so it splits. I know what you mean, but for clarity's purposes, for the people listening, the split is not ontologically true. In other words, the monad, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the one, the zero, the whatever. Mm-hmm. The split is conceptual. It's not literal. It is a choice to look at the self as not the self. It is literally like saying, well, I'm two now, and it's not literal. There is no literal split. The whole idea that even particles are separate from one another is absurd. The more you look down at their subatomic parts, yes, they're mostly empty space, but empty space is not emptiness. It is actually full. It is actually constantly moving and bubbling and frothing energy. It's never ending. It's an ether, like Tesla would have told you, but now they want to call it quantum or something. They don't like calling it ether for some reason. So I mean, it's the problem here is that materialists, really they're scientismists. I don't even know if that's a word, but I know scientism is. These people who are into scientism and think that science has all the answers, the people who say, if I can't measure it, it's not real. They need the world to have separation, because without some kind of separation, their measurements have no value. It's literally logically invalid. As I just pointed out to someone who was talking about 1 + 1 = 0, and they're not wrong. When I'm pointing this out, I say, if there is only one thing, then there must be nothing. Then there is nothing. Because if there is no other one to distinguish the first one from, to create a 2 or a 1 and a 0 even, then it must be 0. In other words, if there is, let's imagine that all you could see is my face and there was no edges to it. Let's say that your entire field of view was my face and you never knew anything else. Would you say that if I'm all there is, how could I be a one thing if I'm all that there is, right? So even the number 1 is an illusion. Even monad is an illusion. 1 makes no sense. This is why the Zen side is all about the nothing. But even in so doing, they cloud it a little bit. This is why I'm not an issue with Zen. Zen's a great practice, but my issue with Zen is it sniffs its own farts a little too much at the end of the day. It's very much about, sit and meditate all day and find your nothingness and blah, 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 blah. And that's a beautiful practice. It's sweet. And I'm definitely oversimplifying it. I really am. But in general, what I see is that there's this whole, there's the sixth patriarch of Zen, of Chan, of Buddhism, says There's a whole story about the flag and the two monks. I bring this up all the time. And they notice a flag is flapping, right? Presumably the wind is blowing and all this is going on. And they get to an argument about whether or not it's the wind blowing the flag or the flag is moving. What's moving, the wind or the flag? Now, obviously, the scientific perspective is the wind's blowing and the flag is moving as a result, because the flag is not dynamic in its own way. It has no energy to it, so therefore it's the wind that's blowing. And whatever. That's the materialist side. But then there's the other side that says the flag's moving and there is no wind to move it. The wind is moving around it, blah, 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 blah. And they're having this argument back and forth. And the sixth patriarch of Zen comes up, Huineng, and he says, basically, to summarize, it's not the flag, it's not the wind, it's mind that is moving. Now, there's several interpretations of that koan. The first among them is this kind of laissez-faire, Zen-minded, just relax, stop thinking about it. You're thinking about it too much, that's what's moving. The flag is not moving, your mind is. Relax. Okay, that's fair. That's like words to live by, but that doesn't actually get you there. That's a great little, wu-wei kind of don't worry about it thing. That's kind of the lowbrow enlightenment. That's kind of the I can act enlightened by acting like I don't care routine. Level 2, 3, 4, 5, if you get to the very top of it, it presents this statement. It is mind that's moving. It's not the flag. It's not the wind. It's mind that's moving. Your mind is creating all of this right now. So that's like level 2. My mind's creating all this and it becomes idealism. But non-duality is not idealism. It sounds like it to a materialist, but it's not, because an idealist completely discounts all of the material. It says, oh no, that's not real. It's all in my mind. That means I can, why can't I just imagine myself into a Lamborghini tomorrow? Okay. So it completely discounts materialistic perspective. But the materialism is not forgotten. The proper non-dualist perspective is to collapse the separation between the two, recognize them as one, either. So non-dualism can mean 1 or 3 or 5 or 1,000,000, but it just means not 2. That's the fundamental principle. But when we're talking about non-dualism, we're really talking most of the time about this all thing, this hyper all thing that is neti. There's no way to describe it. That would be yet another layer of you can't describe it, so why are you thinking about it? And you go back to that first layer again of just relax. That's like layer 3. What I've gained from it is this perspective that not only is all of those true equally, it is also true that reality doesn't move. Time doesn't exist. This candle flame is not flickering. Eddie's not puffing on a thing. Flesh Priest isn't taking a piss. None of that is happening, because first of all, none of these things exist as things. So if that's true, then none of those events are real either. Okay, that's great. You're saying that they're illusory because they're just what's the word I'm looking for? Sophistry or semantical arguments about existence. No, I'm actually going to take you one step further. I'm going to say that what you see is an illusion because you are a conscious mind moving through a block time universe. You are moving through yourself from different perspectives and vantage points. This movement is your own consciousness moving. So when Eddie just scratched his head just now, his hand existed in all of those states in an infinite multiverse of possibility. And so his hand is here, every place in between, all at the same time. His hand is not moving. That's the illusion. The reality is my consciousness is moving through that, creating the perception of a movement. In order for that to happen, I have to separate as consciousness. False separation, of course. I have to separate or have the illusion of separateness from one moment to the next and one space from another. If I don't do that, I can't have that experience. It's a prerequisite to have it. So, the real nature of your being, and I'm telling you this, this is like When I tell you, like, if I were to drop this, it would fall and hit the ground, and I know that for a fact, I know for a fact that this is what that I'm describing. I have no doubt in my mind. Does that mean it's true? I don't care. I know it to be true. That's all. It's not even faith. It's tested, confirmed, experiential truth for me. I know now that all of this is illusory. It's the only thing that makes sense, is that it doesn't make sense. It's like if you add 2 and 2 and get 7, you know you're not doing the math right. It's basically the same kind of idea.
So the word that I think is really useful here is consideration. So it's not even that the one separated. It's more that the one in chaos magic, there is a really powerful concept called as if. Right, and it also exists in cognitive behavioral therapy. And so basically, let's go back to to my story of the one, right? It's not that the one split itself so much as it is the one said, well, if I wanted to see something, then there would have to be something to see. So I will act as if there is something to see. Mm-hmm. And the act...
Before you go further, did you ever see that video? I think it's called The Meaning of Life Explained in 13 Minutes or something like that. Because I don't know if that's what you're sort of quoting a little bit. Nope. That was like one of the little baby steps I took about 12, 15 years ago into this. There was a video, if you look it up, and I don't want to short circuit your thought too much, but I want you to look it up. It's like The Meaning of Life Explained in 12 or 13 minutes, and it starts off with this dot on a white background. It's fantastic. It's literally like entry baby level. Every kid that's like 4 years old should be taught that this is the meaning of the universe, and we'd be in a much better place. Really, I'm not kidding. I'm going to look for it while you're talking. Keep talking.
So understand too that when I talk about the one or separating or anything like that, I'm talking about it in the same way when I say that Lilith and Lucifer made the universe and all of us as their children, right? I'm not expressing factual information because, frankly, I don't give a flying fuck what the facts are. The reality of it is not in the facts. This goes back to the movie point or the story point. The truth of any story, the really important stories at least, is not in did it happen. It's when Superman stops the runaway train and saves the little kid on the tracks. How does that make you feel? Mm-hmm. Like not even in terms of your emotions, but like down in the core of your being, what does that make you feel? That's the truth of it. And so the thing is that, you know, one of the accusations or observations that gets thrown around, especially about people that are mystics, like I consider myself to be, is that we're always talking in metaphors. Why don't we just state the truth plainly? It's because
remember what I said, because silence doesn't sell very well.
Right. But the other side of it is it's kind of the same thing where when people say, well, you can't summon Superman, you can't invoke Superman because he's made up. Like, you say that like Apollo isn't made up. Mm-hmm. Right? Of course I talk in allegories and metaphors because that's all there is. Reality is metaphor.
Is nothing but. Yeah, it's nothing but that. Well said.
It's Carl Sagan, I don't know if he originated it, but you know, Carl Sagan used to like to say things like we are the part of the universe that is trying to understand itself. And I think that...
Yeah, I don't know if he knew he was invoking non-dualism, but he really was in that one. So he says, we are a way for the universe to know, for the cosmos to know itself. One of his most meaningful quotes, in my opinion.
And that's fine for as far as it goes. But I think what we miss is that the whole universe is a story that it's telling itself. And we are both, and I don't mean to say this like human beings somehow have a special place in all of this. I think this applies to everything. This applies to rocks, this applies to trees.
Remember, every point in the universe is the center of the universe.
Right.
So
is that we are the author of the story, we are the story, and we are the audience for the story at the same time. And we all are. Which is why I like the role-playing game metaphor so much. Only it's a giant LARP and there's no dungeon master. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no rules. Mm-hmm. It's purely free form, but at the same time there is only one author. Right? It's like that meme where somebody says, I'd love to have a Dungeons and Dragons campaign where I'm the dungeon master, but I'm also all of the players. And so what I'm asking, is there a way for me to sort of play Dungeons and Dragons by myself that way? And then, like, you know, a couple days later he tweets, I have been informed that this is in fact called writing a book.
Well, don't you remember, wasn't it you and I had this conversation the other night, and I said, what do you think you're doing when you are creating the game for your friends to play? When I created that game that you guys played last, I basically did that without realizing it while I did it. I was like, man, I wish I could play this game. And then I realized I was going through every part of that campaign that I made from the perspective of what I would do if I was a player. And I enjoyed every minute of that creation process for that reason.
Right.
And I realized I basically did play it already. Yeah, I didn't get the dice rolls, but I still had to account for them, so I kind of did get the dice rolls.
Right, and then you put people in it.
Mm-hmm, and I got to watch you guys.
Right, because when you put us in it, now things are happening that you didn't account for. Or, you know, it's the surprise. Well, in that sense...
The surprise, yes. You know, Alan Watts brings that up quite a bit, yeah.
In that sense, you know, you're God in that perspective. That's the story of the creation of the universe, as far as I see, which is basically, again, this is a metaphor, but everything's a metaphor. You know, Lilith and Lucifer basically set up the game and then put us in it as PCs to see what happens. And it's the surprise, it's the fun. The fun is the meaning, the fun is the whole point. And yes, that's not to minimize the shitty stuff that happens, you know.
But even that's fun.
Right.
I mean, if you don't have that, if you can't get a roll on a D20 and have a critical fail and fucking fumble something.
And even the awful things we do to each other are awful things. They're genuinely awful things. But, you know, it's like I said before, at the end of time, we're going to be set around, you know, 1 trillion billion years from now, you know, long after the universe ceases to exist, and we exist only as spiritual beings. You know, what are we going to be sitting around? Are we going to be sitting around here talking about that time that awful thing happened and all those people died?
Yes, that was during
We're going to be talking about like, man, remember that time we spent like way too many years joking about how magic is stored in the butt? And we're going to you know, we're still going to be making that joke after the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, most definitely, because we already are. I mean, so I had so many thoughts pop into my head. One of them is that the whole, you know, two things I want to say. For one, if I was going to create a mythology, I love the Lovecraftian mythology of Azathoth or Azathoth, being the one that's dreaming into existence all of reality. Because that essentially puts him in the place of whatever, you know, Hindu god that does that. It's essentially a fundamental... Basically, it's like Lovecraft figured it out as a horror story. Like, what is the universe? It's a dream in the mind of a mad, dumb god that can't speak or think. And when it wakes up, we all disappear. Like, yeah, that's kind of what it is. Actually, you're so that's way too on the nose, my friend. That is so on the nose. It's almost like he knew. That's why I give him some credit.
It's so on the nose that you had to make a cosmic horror story out of it. Otherwise,
yeah, people would think it was like, yeah, like Hinduism.
Because that's the only way it could exist on that level.
So that's one. Point number two is Infernal Star, and everybody, they're talking about how it's a simulation or not an Infernal. I agree more with Infernal. This whole idea that it's a simulation begs the question: what is simulating the simulation? What is simulating the thing above that? If nothing, then what created that? So if we're all sitting here tied to a computer, and that's really what's happening, and this is just a matrix, the world outside this matrix, then what created that? Does it have the same equation? It's a Big Bang. Okay, then you see what I'm saying? That's actually, when people watch the Matrix movies, the first one's the only one you really need to watch. But if you're going to watch the other ones, there's a scene in this, I guess it's the second one, where he's no longer connected to the Matrix, but he can still controls the machines. The two explanations are some part of him still in the machine when he's doing that, and it's like some kind of like superpower. Yeah, cool. No, I like the deeper interpretation, which is he realized everything's a dream. None of this is real. And even in the I'm not in the Matrix anymore moment, he still realizes that he's in a Matrix and does the same thing, because there's no difference. He is the one. He is the consciousness of the universe in that moment. That's my preferred interpretation of that scene. I don't care what the authors meant. I really don't.
You want to hear my theory?
No.
So my theory, get ready, okay? Your brain's going to explode. Okay, so what did the architect say to Neo? He said,
"Oh, baby thought. Big baby face thought."
Every time they tried to make a simulation, people kept waking up. And no matter
anytime
how
they made it
realistic
too good.
they made it,
Yeah.
no matter how well they put it together, there was some certain percentage of the population that keeps trying to wake up. So how do you control those people? You give them another simulation to wake up into. It was just another layer of the simulation. Because that whole battery explanation was total fucking bullshit.
Total bullshit. Yeah, total bullshit. But that's actually in line with what I'm saying.
Right.
So he realizes he's still in the simulation on some level, and that's how he's able to do it. So that's actually a very good explanation. But that, again, what you said is the plot explanation. So it's valid, but then it still begs the question, okay, what about that? If we pull back enough layers of simulation, what do we get? This onion, when we pull all the Russian nesting dolls out, is there a real world finally at the juicy center of this Tootsie Roll Pop? No, that's the point. Is that one could almost argue that the bottommost iteration of this simulation contains the topmost iteration of the simulation.
As above,
you get
so
this
below.
big torus of infinity. The problem with that, however, is that it still separates the layers.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you run into a problem. The idea that, so if Neo can wake up from one world and go into another one, that implies they're separate, but they're not. They can't be separate. Otherwise, you couldn't move from one to the other. You couldn't have all this other stuff. Like, that's in the modern world. We talk about the multiverse. And there's this idea like that scientists or other people have, that there's however many or infinite dimensions of the multiverse. And then they go, well, how do we get there? Where are they in space? Can we see them on the cosmic microwave background? Blah, 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 blah. They're still thinking in separate terms. They're thinking that these infinite universes that are not this one, well, that's wrong. Here's a different thought experiment. Instead of having like infinite layers of paper stacked on top of each other that eventually circle back around and after an infinity, what if there's just an infinite space? If space is infinite in size, so long as the rules of nature don't change, anywhere. There's only so many configurations that all of the possible matter and energy and whatever in this universe can be in. It's a really big number. It's a scary big number. But it's a finite number. So this implies that if I were to go from here enough billions of light years in that direction, eventually there would have to be another identical copy of me. But that also means, so in other words, that looping around effect, that also means that between here and that copy, there's an infinite number of iterations of possible me's. The vastness of this contains more than enough for every possible dream, fantasy, or thing you could think of to exist. It's so big that it begs the question, why here? It begs the question, all of it. And I'm trying to tell you, I am convinced you're here because you want to be here. And here is a moving target. And anytime that your higher self, your watcher, as we kind of discussed that last time when we said, you know, the egregore, I guess that was in the chat, the non-duality chat or something. Someone were talking about it. That watcher, that egregore, that means the Grigori, the watchers, that watcher that you are, when it says, you know what, D.H. Thorne's had enough of being a mundane, he wants to be a magician again. It's going to pick up its conscious awareness, maybe when I'm sleeping, maybe when I'm watching TV, and just like the mandala effect, I'm going to go to a universe where D.H. Thorne's a magician now. But not too good at it, so that I can't make this levitate around like Star Wars or something, because that would wake me up too fast. What wakes up Neo? They don't ever tell you, but my hunch is that, like you said, there's like multiple waking ups. They have all these layers of waking up. So what wakes him up isn't the fucking pill. The pill the pill had no power. It's like a placebo.
Plot-wise, the pill was simply a tracker.
Or it kills the tracker. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the pill was exclusively just so they could find his body within the real world.
But that's the story they tell him to rationalize the waking up process. Just like in a lucid dream. When you have a lucid dream, you go, oh, I'm lucid dreaming. You don't think you're a god in a lucid dream, right?
No,
you go, oh, I'm lucid dreaming. That's what it is. I'm lucid dreaming. Anything other than I'm the universe, your consciousness will resist that every step of the way, tooth and nail, until one day it just can't anymore. Mine must still be doing it because I can't snap my fingers and make the candle go out. Because I still think I exist. Oh well, I don't mind. I'm enjoying the ride. That's what it is. It's a ride. It's a game. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, guys, I just realized it's late. Let me see. We just got a message. What do we got here? Because it's super late. I meant to go.
Oh, hey, that's right on track with what that message is.
Yep, same.
So, all right, guys. So I don't know when we're going to do movie night as a family again, as a family. But I think if I can get the strength and energy tomorrow, I might make Flesh Priest watch a movie with me tomorrow. I think we were going to watch Year Zero or Year One or whatever it was called. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I'd like to do a movie night as a Discord family soon again. Maybe we should tentatively plan for the weekend after either a game night or a movie night, like a Jackbots night or something like that.
I'll have to post something about that.
Yeah.
And before I forget, I wanna shout out. I'm going to reach up onto my shelf over here and grab a gold star sticker and give it to Coda over there, because
we love Coda.
Yeah. Was very happy to have you on last week, and I know you you brought up the thing about come on with the movies, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but they were saying that we brought out a couple rusty keys they swept under the rug.
That shadow, baby, it finds you whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, but I just wanted to shout out to you, like, because we can be pretty irreverent on here, and you definitely don't seem to take it in the bad way. Yeah, so just fuck it. What am I trying to point to? My thoughts are all scattered out. It's fucking late. Good on you. I'm happy you didn't take it the wrong way, and yeah, happy to have good conversation.
Coda did mention he wants to know if we're going to do the vampire stream, because I just realized I think we did mention we'd like to do one soon.
I think we talked about that on the last one. Maybe pencil that in for the next or the one after.
Yeah, we'll see what Elle wants to talk about. Maybe Elle would like to talk about vampirism. If he wants to talk about vampirism, I'm game.
Is Elle gonna be on next week?
Tentatively. I thought he was gonna be on this week, but he got back to me and said that it's gonna be next week, the soonest. So
I would love to do a vampirism stream too. Just saying that.
Okay.
I've done some vampiric magic. I haven't.
There's a few people going through the rites. There's actually a few people in Discord going through. I don't want to name anybody, but there's a few people going through the rites in my book right as of now. They started it, so you know that should be interesting for them too. They might want to watch it too. So yeah, I haven't done a vamp stream in almost a year and a half, so like dedicated. Besides the book reveal,
well,
so that would be fun.
I tell you what, if any of you going through the vampire initiations look anything like the main antagonist of the new Resident Evil coming out, I will volunteer as a blood doll. Like, come practice on me.
That's so trendy of you. That is so trendy of you, Fleshy. My goodness. Oh man. I think that's the thing Coda's talking about, getting warped by movies and video games. But yeah.
Fuck it, I'm warped for vampire titty goth mommy.
So, all right, guys. Oh, here it comes, the barrage. All right, guys. So I will talk to you guys very soon. And next week we will be here, same bat time, same bat channel, talking about magic and the things that will fit in your butt, namely magic. So thank you to all our guests. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Flesh, as always. Thank you to all our kind donators. If you want to support our work, go to the link tree in the description of this video. There's links to my books, links to everything, or you can just like, comment, share. Everything helps. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
You guys fucking know what to do. You're smart. You're smart. So,
all right.
Buy
our crap.
Thank you guys for being here. Love each and every one of you motherfuckers. Mind the fucking shadows, tell your friends, and warn your enemies.
And never take yourself more seriously than your enemies do.
I'm fucking it up. There we go.